Welcome to my Knowledge Sleep channel. Close your eyes now and let yourself drift. Drift away from the noise, away from the rush, away from everything that holds you to this moment. We are leaving Earth tonight. Slowly, gently, we are rising. There is no sound here, no wind, no voices, just the vast, endless silence of space, stretching out in every direction. Forever. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel yourself floating, weightless, suspended in the dark. The stars do not twinkle here. They are steady, constant, unblinking points of light scattered across the black canvas of the universe. Some are closer than others, but all are impossibly far away. Light that left those stars centuries ago is only now reaching your eyes. You are seeing the past, the ancient past, frozen in the stillness of space. There is no up, no down, no left or right, only the slow, patient turning of the cosmos. And ahead of you, far ahead, barely visible at first, is a tiny speck of light, a pale, reddish dot against the darkness. Mars, the red planet. We are drifting toward it now, not rushing, not hurrying, just drifting, the way dust drifts through a quiet room, the way a leaf drifts on still water. Space is patient, space does not rush, and neither do we. The distance between Earth and Mars is never the same. Both planets orbit the sun, each following its own path, its own rhythm. Sometimes they are close, separated by only 33 million miles. Sometimes they are far, as distant as 250 million miles apart. Tonight, we are somewhere in between, drifting, floating, moving through the void at a speed that would seem impossible on Earth. And yet here, in the vastness of space, it feels slow. It feels timeless. There is nothing to measure our movement against. No landmarks, no signposts, just the stars, unchanging, and that distant red dot growing ever so slightly larger. Days pass, weeks pass, time loses meaning here. There is only the silence and the slow, inevitable pull of gravity drawing us forward. Breathe in and breathe out. Let go of your thoughts. Let them drift away like dust in the solar wind. The red dot is growing now, slowly, but surely. At first, it is nothing more than a point of rusty light, a pale ember suspended in the dark. But as we drift closer, closer, it begins to take shape, a sphere, a world, Mars. The surface is coming into view now, gradual, patient, revealing itself inch by inch, mile by mile, and it is red. Not the bright, vibrant red of fire or blood, but a softer red, a tired red, the color of old bricks left in the sun, the color of desert clay, the color of rust. Rust, that is the secret of Mars. That is why it glows with that ancient, dusty color. The soil of Mars, the regolith, the fine powder that covers almost every inch of its surface, is filled with iron oxide, rust. Billions of years ago, when Mars was young, when its core was still molten and its magnetic field still strong, iron rose to the surface. Volcanic eruptions brought it up from deep below, scattering it across the landscape in rivers of molten rock. And then, slowly, over unimaginable stretches of time, that iron met oxygen, oxygen in the thin atmosphere, oxygen in ancient water that once flowed across the surface in rivers and lakes. The iron oxidized, it rusted, grain by grain, particle by particle. Over millions of years, over billions of years, the surface of Mars turned red, and now, all these ages later, the entire planet wears that rust like a cloak, a fine powdery dust that settles over mountains and valleys. over plains and craters, over everything. The dust is everywhere. It coats the rocks, it fills the air, it drifts on the wind in slow, lazy spirals. And when the wind dies down, when the storms pass and the atmosphere stills, the dust settles again, gently, quietly, covering everything in a thin layer of red. We are closer now, close enough to see the details, close enough to see the texture of the surface. The soil is not smooth, it is rough, granular, like coarse sand or fine gravel. Each particle is tiny, sometimes no larger than a grain of talcum powder. Other particles are bigger, pebbles, small stones, angular and sharp-edged because there has been no water here for billions of years to wear them smooth. The composition of the soil is complex. Iron oxide, yes, that is the main ingredient. That is what gives Mars its color. But there are other minerals too. Silica, the same substance that makes up sand on Earth. Sulfur, left behind by ancient volcanic activity. Calcium, magnesium, trace amounts of other elements, all mixed together in the fine dry dust. Scientists have analyzed this soil. Robots have scooped it up, examined it, photographed it under microscopes. They have heated it, tested it, studied its chemical composition, and they have found that the soil of Mars is not so different from the soil of Earth. It contains many of the same elements, many of the same minerals, but it is dry, so dry. There is no moisture here, no dampness, no humidity. The soil is as dry as dust can possibly be, baked by the sun, scoured by the wind, frozen at night, and it is cold, so cold. The average temperature on Mars is negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 63 degrees Celsius. That is colder than Antarctica in winter, colder than the coldest night on Earth. During the day near the equator, when the sun is high, the temperature can rise. It can climb to a pleasant 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. Warm enough for a human to stand comfortably, if only the atmosphere were breathable. But it is not. The atmosphere of Mars is thin, so thin. It is less than 1% as thick as the atmosphere of Earth. Breathing here would be impossible. The pressure is too low, the oxygen almost non-existent. And when night falls, when the sun dips below the horizon and the thin atmosphere can no longer hold the heat, the temperature plummets down, down, down to 100 degrees below zero, sometimes even colder. The soil freezes, the rocks freeze, everything becomes locked in the grip of that deep, penetrating cold. And in that cold, in that silence, the planet waits. Look at the surface now. We are hovering above it, suspended in the thin air, looking down at the landscape below. It is still, so still. There is no movement, no life, no trees swaying in the breeze, no animals stirring in the undergrowth, no birds flying overhead, just stillness. The rocks sit where they have sat for millions of years, untouched, unchanging, weathered by the wind and the cold, but never moved, never disturbed. The dust lies in drifts and ripples, shaped by ancient winds into patterns that look almost like waves on a frozen sea, but they do not move. They are locked in place, waiting for the next storm, the next gust of wind strong enough to lift them and carry them a few feet, a few miles, before they settle again. Silence, that is the defining quality of Mars. Silence. On Earth, there is always sound, always, even in the quietest places. In the deepest forests or the most remote deserts, there is sound, the rustle of leaves, the buzz of insects, the distant call of a bird, the whisper of wind through grass. But here, on Mars, there is true silence. The atmosphere is too thin to carry sound the way it does on Earth. Sounds would be muffled, distant, faint. A voice would not travel far. A shout would be swallowed by the vastness. But there are no voices here, no one to shout, just the wind, and even the wind is quiet. A soft susurration, a gentle hiss as it moves across the rocks and stirs the dust. And then, stillness again. The color of the soil varies slightly from place to place. In some regions it is a deep burnt orange. In others it is paler, almost tan or beige. In certain areas where darker volcanic rock breaks through the dust, the surface takes on a grayish hue, a charcoal color that contrasts with the surrounding red. But red is the dominant color, red everywhere. The sky itself takes on a reddish tint during the day, not the blue of Earth's sky, but a pale butterscotch hue, a peachy pink that comes from the dust suspended in the thin atmosphere. Tiny particles of that iron-rich soil drift high above the surface, carried by winds, reflecting and scattering the sunlight, and so the sky glows red, and the soil glows red, and the rocks, the boulders, the distant mountains, all glow red. It is a world painted in shades of rust, ancient rust, patient rust, rust that has been forming for 4.5 billion years, since the planet first cooled and solidified from the swirling disk of dust and gas that surrounded the young sun. Run your fingers through the soil. In your mind, feel its texture. It is fine, almost silky, like flour, like powder. It would slip through your fingers easily, leaving a faint red stain on your skin. It would cling to your boots, your clothes, your equipment. Everything you touched would slowly turn red with the dust of Mars. The dust is unavoidable. It is everywhere. It coats the solar panels of the robots that explore the surface, reducing their efficiency, dimming their power. It fills the treads of their wheels. It settles on their cameras, their instruments, their mechanical arms. The dust is patient. It waits, and eventually, inevitably, it covers everything. One day, the robots will stop moving, their batteries will fail, their systems will shut down, and the dust will begin to bury them, slowly, grain by grain, year by year, century by century, until they are nothing more than red mounds in the landscape, ancient artifacts of a time when Earth sent its emissaries to explore this silent world. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. For now, just breathe. Breathe in the stillness. Breathe in the silence. We have arrived at Mars. We are here, on the red planet, and all around us, in every direction, stretches the vast quiet landscape, red soil beneath a red sky, ancient, patient, still, waiting, always waiting. Let yourself sink into that stillness now. Let it surround you, embrace you, pull you gently down into the soft, dusty surface. Rest here, rest on Mars, where nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing disturbs the endless, peaceful quiet. Rest, breathe slowly now, in and out. We are moving across the surface of Mars, drifting, gliding just above the rusty soil, across plains that stretch for hundreds of miles in every direction. The landscape is flat here, almost perfectly flat, the kind of flatness that seems impossible, unnatural, as if some great hand smoothed the surface long ago and left it undisturbed. But ahead, far ahead on the horizon, something rises, slowly, so slowly. At first you might not even notice it. The slope is so gentle, so gradual, that it seems like the land is simply rising slightly, a hill perhaps, a gentle elevation in the endless plain. But it is not a hill. It is a mountain, the largest mountain in the entire solar system, Olympus Mons. The name comes from ancient Greece, Mount Olympus, home of the gods. And here on Mars, the name fits. This mountain is so vast, so impossibly large, that it seems almost divine, a structure that could only exist in myth, and yet it is real, real and silent, so very silent. Let us approach it slowly. There is no need to rush. Olympus Mons has been here for millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. It will wait for us. It is patient. As we drift closer, the true scale of this mountain begins to reveal itself. It rises from the Martian surface like an island rising from an ocean. The base is enormous, impossibly wide. If you stood at the edge and looked across to the other side, you would not be able to see it. The mountain is so wide that it disappears beyond the curve of the horizon. 374 miles across, 600 kilometers. That is the diameter of Olympus Mons, roughly the size of the entire state of Arizona or the country of Poland, an area so vast that it could swallow entire mountain ranges, entire countries, and still have room to spare. And it is not just wide, it is tall, so tall, 16 miles high, 25 kilometers from base to summit. Olympus Mons rises 16 miles into the thin Martian sky. To put that in perspective, Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, rises just over 5.5 miles above sea level, 9 kilometers. Olympus Mons is nearly 3 times taller, 3 times. If you placed Mount Everest at the base of Olympus Mons and began to climb, you would reach the summit of Everest and still have another 10.5 miles to climb before you reach the top of Olympus Mons. The human mind struggles to comprehend such size, such scale. It is too large, too vast. The numbers become abstract, meaningless. But perhaps that is fitting, because Olympus Mons exists in a place beyond human scale, beyond human experience. It is a monument to forces that operated over timescales we can barely imagine. We are beginning our ascent now, slowly. The slope is gentle, surprisingly gentle, only about 5 degrees on average, a gradual incline that you could walk up without much effort, if not for the thin atmosphere and the bitter cold. It would not feel like climbing a mountain at all, more like walking up a long, endless ramp, step after step after step, for hours, for days. The slope stretches on and on, rising so gradually that you might not even realize you are climbing. The horizon remains flat, featureless, just red soil and red rocks extending in every direction. But you are rising, inch by inch, foot by foot, mile by mile, higher and higher into the thin air. Olympus Mons is a shield volcano, that is the technical term. A shield volcano, named for its shape, broad and gently sloping, like a warrior's shield laid on the ground. It formed the same way shield volcanoes form on Earth, through countless eruptions over millions of years. Lava welling up from deep beneath the surface, flowing outward, spreading in thin sheets across the land, cooling and hardening into rock, and then another eruption, more lava, more layers, again and again and again, for 200 million years, perhaps longer. Olympus Mons grew. Each eruption added a new layer, a new sheet of solidified lava, building the mountain higher, wider, larger. The lava was thin, runny. It flowed easily, spreading far before it cooled. That is why the slopes are so gentle. That is why the mountain is so wide. It built itself slowly, patiently. over timescales that make human history seem like the blink of an eye. But the mountain is quiet now. It has been quiet for a very long time. The last eruption, the final outpouring of lava from the depths of Mars, happened perhaps 2 million years ago, perhaps longer. The scientists are not entirely certain, but what they do know is that Olympus Mons is dormant, sleeping, deep sleep, the kind of sleep that lasts for millions of years. The magma chamber beneath the mountain has cooled. The geological forces that once drove lava to the surface have stilled. The planet's core has grown cold, its inner heat dissipating into space over billions of years. Mars is dying, slowly dying, and Olympus Mons, this great monument to the planet's violent past, stands silent, a fossil of fire, a memory of a time when Mars was young and active and alive with volcanic fury. But now, there is only stillness. The mountain does not tremble, does not shake, does not breathe smoke or steam or gases. It simply exists, solid, ancient, unchanging. We are higher now, much higher. The air is growing thinner. Not that the Martian atmosphere was ever thick, but up here, at this altitude, it is almost non-existent, a whisper, a ghost of an atmosphere. The pressure is so low that water cannot exist as a liquid here. It would boil away instantly, or freeze solid, depending on the temperature, and it is cold. Up here on the slopes of Olympus Mons, far from the warmth of the valleys below, the temperature drops even further, -100 degrees Fahrenheit at night, -73 degrees Celsius. The rocks are coated with a thin layer of frost, not water ice, but carbon dioxide ice, dry ice, frozen from the trace amounts of CO2 in the atmosphere. It glitters faintly in the dim sunlight, a delicate crystalline coating that sublimates during the day, turning directly from solid to gas, and then reforms at night when the temperature plunges again. A slow cycle, a quiet cycle, freeze and thaw, thaw and freeze, over and over, forever. The summit is approaching now, after hours of climbing, days of climbing, weeks of climbing in your mind. We are nearing the top. The slope remains gentle, unchanging, but the horizon is beginning to curve more noticeably. We are so high now that the curvature of Mars itself is visible. The planet is falling away beneath us, its surface bending downward in all directions, and ahead, just ahead, the ground levels out. We have reached the summit, the top of Olympus Mons, the highest point in the solar system, 56,000 feet above the surrounding plains, 85,000 feet above the lowest point on Mars, 16 miles above the base, and it is quiet, so quiet. Stand here for a moment, look around. The summit of Olympus Mons is not a sharp peak, not a pinnacle. Instead, it is a plateau, a wide, relatively flat area several miles across, and at the center, there is a caldera, a crater. Not an impact crater, but a collapse crater, the place where the magma chamber beneath the mountain once existed. When the lava drained away, when the eruptions ceased, the ground above slowly sank, collapsed, leaving a great depression in the summit. The caldera is 53 miles wide, 85 kilometers, deep enough to swallow entire cities, wide enough to hold lakes, if Mars had water, but there is no water here, just rock, solidified lava, layer upon layer of ancient stone, folded and cracked and weathered by time. The walls of the caldera drop away steeply, almost vertically in places, cliffs of dark volcanic rock rising thousands of feet from the crater floor. It is beautiful in its desolation, beautiful in its emptiness. Look up now. From here, from the summit of Olympus Mons, The sky is different. We are so high, so far above the bulk of the Martian atmosphere that the sky has darkened. The pale butterscotch color of the daytime sky has deepened to a darker hue, almost purple, almost black. The stars are beginning to appear, even though the sun is still in the sky, even though it is still day. The stars are visible, faint but present, pinpricks of light scattered across the darkening sky. This is what it would look like to stand on the edge of space. The sun hangs lower in the sky than it would on Earth, smaller, dimmer, about 2/3 the size it appears from Earth, because Mars is farther from the sun, 50% farther on average. The light is weaker here, gentler, the kind of light you might see on Earth during a late autumn afternoon when the sun is low and the shadows are long. But it is enough to illuminate the vast caldera below, enough to cast long, soft shadows across the rocky plateau, enough to light this silent summit. There is no wind here, not right now. The air is so thin that even when the wind does blow, it feels like nothing. A gentle breeze on Earth would be a fierce gale on Mars, but even that would feel like the lightest touch. Right now, there is only stillness, the kind of stillness that feels sacred, reverent, as if you are standing in an ancient temple, a place where nothing should be disturbed, nothing moves, nothing sounds, just you, standing at the top of the tallest mountain in the solar system, looking out over a world that has been silent for millions of years. From up here, you can see the curve of Mars. The horizon bends away in all directions, red plains stretching to the edge of sight, the land falling away gradually, disappearing into the haze of distance. Somewhere out there, hundreds of miles away, other features of Mars lie hidden, other mountains, other valleys, the great canyon of Valles Marineris, the polar ice caps gleaming white in the distance. But from here, they are invisible, too far, too small. There is only the curve of the planet and the darkening sky and the stillness, the profound ancient stillness of a sleeping giant. Rest here now, at the summit of Olympus Mons, where the air is thin and the sky is dark and the silence is complete. Let the mountain hold you. Let its ancient stone cradle you. This volcano has been sleeping for 2 million years. It will sleep for 2 million more, perhaps forever. And you can sleep too, here, at the top of the world, where nothing disturbs the peace, where nothing breaks the quiet. Rest, sleep. Let the gentle slopes of Olympus Mons carry you down, down, down into deep, dreamless sleep. The mountain is patient. It will wait. It has always waited, and it will be here, silent and still. When you wake, breathe in and out. Let yourself drift again. We are leaving the summit of Olympus Mons now, descending slowly, gently, back down those gradual slopes, back across the red plains. We are traveling east, across vast stretches of empty land, across plains dotted with ancient craters, across dust fields that haven't been disturbed in 1,000,000 years. And ahead, far ahead, the ground begins to change. The flat surface of Mars, that endless expanse of red, suddenly ends. There is a crack in the world, a wound in the surface of the planet, a scar so deep, so long, so impossibly vast that it defies comprehension. Valles Marineris, the Valleys of Mariner, named after the Mariner 9 spacecraft that first photographed it in 1971. But the name seems too small, too simple, for what lies before us. This is not a valley, it is an abyss. Approach the edge slowly, stand here, at the rim, and look down. The ground drops away beneath your feet, not gradually, not gently, but suddenly, sharply. a vertical cliff face plunging down, down, down into shadows so deep they appear black. 4 miles deep, 7 kilometers. The canyon floor is 4 miles below where you stand. If you dropped a stone from this height, it would fall for nearly a full minute before it hit the bottom. You would watch it disappear into the haze, into the shadows, becoming invisible long before it reached the ground. 4 miles, the Grand Canyon on Earth, that magnificent gorge carved by the Colorado River over millions of years, is 1 mile deep, perhaps slightly more in places. Valles Marineris is 4 times deeper, 4 times, and it is wider too. In places, from rim to rim, the canyon stretches 125 miles across, 200 kilometers. You could fit the entire Grand Canyon inside Valles Marineris dozens of times and still have room to spare. But it is the length that truly staggers the mind. The length. Valles Marineris stretches across the surface of Mars for 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometers. If this canyon existed on Earth, and you placed one end on the east coast of the United States, in New York City, the other end would reach all the way to California, to the Pacific Ocean, the entire width of the country, or imagine Europe, from Paris to Moscow, from London to Tehran. That is the length of Valles Marineris, a scar across an entire world, a wound that has never healed. How did it form? The scientists have studied the canyon for decades. They have mapped its walls, analyzed its structure, debated its origins, and they believe it began with a crack. Billions of years ago, when Mars was younger, when its crust was still shifting and settling, a massive volcanic region called Tharsis began to form. The same geological process that would eventually create Olympus Mons. But as Tharsis rose, as that enormous bulge of volcanic rock pushed upward from the planet's interior, it stretched the surrounding crust, pulling it, stressing it, and the crust cracked, split, like dry earth splitting in the sun. The ground pulled apart along fault lines. Great sections of rock collapsed downward, creating a rift valley, a graben, a place where the surface literally fell away into the depths below. And over millions of years, billions of years, that crack widened, deepened. Erosion ate away at the walls. Landslides tumbled rock into the abyss. Water, when Mars still had flowing water, may have carved channels and worn away the stone. The scar grew and grew until it became what we see today. This vast, silent, empty canyon. Look at the walls now, the cliff faces that plunge down into darkness. They are not smooth, not uniform. Instead, they are layered, striped, banded with different colors, different shades of red and brown and gray. Each layer is a chapter in the history of Mars, a page in a book written in stone. The deepest layers, the ones far below, near the canyon floor, are the oldest, ancient volcanic rock from when Mars was young. Dark basalt, dense and solid, formed in eruptions that happened 3.5 billion years ago. Above that, layer upon layer of sedimentary rock, stone formed from dust and sand that settled in ancient lakes or seas, compressed over millions of years into solid rock, each layer representing a different era, a different climate, a different Mars. Some layers are reddish, rich in iron oxide, formed during dry periods when dust blew across the surface. Other layers are lighter, tan or beige, perhaps formed when water was more abundant, when minerals dissolved and precipitated out in different patterns. And higher still, near the rim, younger rocks, more recent deposits, dust that has settled over the past few million years. loose and unconsolidated, waiting to be blown away by the wind or to slide down into the canyon below. Each layer tells a story, and the canyon walls are like a library, a record of billions of years of planetary history, exposed and visible, waiting to be read. The shadows in the canyon are profound, deep. During the Martian day, when the sun is high, light reaches only the upper portions of the canyon, the rim, the upper walls. Everything else remains in shadow, cool, dark, untouched by the sun. And as the day progresses, as the sun moves slowly across the sky, the line between light and shadow shifts, moves. The bright zone creeps down the western wall, inch by inch, foot by foot, but it never reaches the bottom, not during the day. The canyon is too deep, too vast. The sun's angle is too low. The floor remains in perpetual twilight, a dim grayish half-light that filters down through the thin atmosphere, reflecting off the upper walls, bouncing back and forth until it finally reaches the bottom, faint, barely enough to see by. And when night falls, when the sun dips below the horizon, the entire canyon fills with darkness, pure darkness, the kind of darkness that is complete and absolute. No light pollution, no distant cities, no moon bright enough to illuminate the depths, just blackness, an abyss of shadow stretching for thousands of miles. Descend now, down into the canyon, not quickly, not rushing, but slowly, carefully, letting yourself sink deeper and deeper into the shadows. The walls rise up around you, towering, immense, cliffs of striated rock stretching upward until they disappear into the haze above. You are so small here, so impossibly small, a tiny speck in a space so vast it makes you feel like nothing, like dust, like a single grain of sand in an endless desert. And yet, there is comfort in that smallness, comfort in knowing that you are surrounded by something so much larger than yourself, so much older, so much more permanent. The canyon does not judge, does not care. It simply exists, has existed for billions of years, will exist for billions more. You are safe here, safe in the vastness, safe in the silence. The floor of the canyon is not flat. It is rough, uneven, covered with debris that has fallen from the walls over millions of years. Boulders the size of houses, mounds of rubble, fields of broken rock. And in places, if you look carefully, you can see evidence of water, ancient water, channels carved into the rock, dry riverbeds winding across the canyon floor, smooth stones that might have been worn round by flowing streams billions of years ago. Water once flowed here, in these depths, in this abyss, perhaps during a warmer period in Mars's history, a time when the atmosphere was thicker and the temperature higher, when rivers ran through the canyon, cascading down from the rim in great waterfalls, pooling in lakes on the canyon floor. But that was so long ago, 3 billion years ago, perhaps more. The water is gone now, evaporated, frozen into the soil or escaped into space. All that remains are the empty channels, the dry riverbeds, the memory of flow frozen in stone. Sometimes, in the early morning, fog forms in the canyon, not every day, not even most days, but occasionally, when conditions are just right, wisps of mist appear in the deepest valleys. Not water vapor. The temperature is far too cold for that. Instead, it is carbon dioxide fog, dry ice crystals suspended in the air, forming when the temperature drops below -125 degrees Celsius during the long, cold night. The fog settles in the low places, the depressions, the side valleys and tributary canyons that branch off from the main chasm. It pools there like liquid, like milk poured into a bowl, thick and white and opaque, and as the sun rises, as the first light of dawn touches the upper rim, the fog begins to glow, softly, pale and ethereal, like something from a dream. It does not last long. The sun warms the air, the fog sublimates, turns from solid to gas and vanishes, leaving the canyon clear and empty once more. But for those few minutes, those brief moments at dawn, the canyon is transformed, softened, made gentle by the white mist. It is beautiful, quietly, profoundly beautiful. Listen, can you hear it? The silence. It is different here in the canyon, different from the silence on the surface. This is a deeper silence, a more complete silence. The walls absorb sound, muffle it, swallow it. If you shouted, if you called out into the vastness, your voice would carry for a moment, echo perhaps once or twice off the distant cliff faces. And then nothing. The sound would die, fade, disappear into the immensity, because sound requires air to travel, and the air here is so thin, so tenuous. Sound waves dissipate quickly, grow weak, vanish. There are no echoes that last, no reverberations that fill the space, just the brief cry, and then silence again, the eternal silence of Mars. Rest here now, on the floor of Valles Marineris, 4 miles below the surface, surrounded by walls that stretch upward into the dim red sky. In a canyon so long you could walk for weeks, months, and never reach the end. Feel the weight of the stone above you, the billions of tons of rock that tower overhead. Feel the age of this place, the history compressed into every layer of the walls. This canyon has been here for 3 billion years. 3 billion. Humans have existed for perhaps 300,000 years. Human civilization for perhaps 10,000 years. This canyon is 300,000 times older than all of recorded history. It watched the rise and fall of entire epochs, entire eras. It was here when Mars still had oceans. It was here when the water dried up. It was here when the atmosphere thinned and the planet grew cold. It will be here long after Earth itself has grown old. Let the canyon hold you now. Let its vast emptiness surround you like a blanket. You are small here, so small, and that is good, because in your smallness, you are free from worry, free from burden, free from the weight of significance. You are just a visitor, a temporary presence in a place that is eternal. And when you leave, when you drift back up toward the rim and return to the surface, the canyon will remain unchanged, silent, waiting, as it has always waited, as it will always wait. Rest now, in the deep shadows, in the ancient abyss. Let the silence of Valles Marineris fill you. Let it calm you. Let it carry you gently, softly, down into sleep, deep sleep, the kind of sleep that lasts for ages, the kind of sleep that dreams of stone and shadow and endless time. Rest, breathe gently, in and out. We are rising now from the depths of Valles Marineris, climbing slowly back toward the surface, back toward the red plains and the open sky, and as we drift across the landscape, something catches your eye. Far below, small, so small, a tiny shape against the vast red expanse. At first you think it might be a rock, a boulder, just another piece of the Martian surface. But it is not. It is something else, something that does not belong to this world. A visitor, a traveler from Earth, a robot, one of the lonely machines that humanity sent across the darkness of space to explore this silent planet. Let us go down to it, slowly, gently, and listen to its story. Her name was Sojourner, the first, the smallest, no larger than a microwave oven, barely 2 feet long. Weighing just 23 pounds in Earth's gravity, even less here on Mars, she arrived in the summer of 1997, tucked inside a lander called Pathfinder. Together they descended through the thin atmosphere, bouncing across the surface inside giant airbags, coming to rest in a place called Ares Valles, an ancient floodplain, a place where water once rushed in great torrents billions of years ago. But when Sojourner rolled down the ramp and touched the Martian soil with her 6 wheels, there was no water, no floods, just dust and rocks and endless silence. She was alone, the first machine to ever move across the surface of another planet under its own power, alone in a way that is difficult to comprehend. The nearest human was 40 million miles away. The nearest living thing, the nearest sound, the nearest movement, just her and the rocks and the silence. She was not built to last long. Her mission was designed for 7 days, perhaps a little more if she was lucky. But Sojourner was careful, gentle. She moved slowly across the rocky ground, studied stones with her instruments, sent pictures back to Earth, and she lasted 85 days, 85 Martian days, 87 Earth days. Each day she woke with the sunrise, let the solar panels on her back drink in the weak sunlight, charged her batteries, and set to work, rolling a few feet, stopping to examine a rock, waiting patiently while commands traveled across space from Earth, commands that took 11 minutes to arrive. She was patient, so patient, and then, one day in late September, she went silent. The last transmission arrived at Earth, and then nothing. Perhaps her batteries finally failed. Perhaps the cold of the Martian night finally damaged her circuits beyond repair. Perhaps dust covered her solar panels, and she could no longer gather enough power to wake. No one knows, but she is still there, in Ares Valles, sitting quietly among the rocks she studied, covered now in a thin layer of red dust, her solar panels dim, her wheels motionless, resting. After 27 years of rest, she has become part of the landscape, another rock, another piece of Mars, and she is at peace. The twins came next, Spirit and Opportunity, identical robots, built together, launched together in the summer of 2003, traveling side by side across the void until they reached Mars, and then they separated. Spirit landed on one side of the planet, in a place called Gusev Crater, a massive impact basin that might once have been a lake. Opportunity landed on the other side, in Meridiani Planum, a flat plain rich with minerals that form in water. Sisters separated by thousands of miles, each alone in her own corner of Mars, but connected, always connected, by the humans on Earth who spoke to them, who guided them, who loved them. Spirit was the adventurer. She climbed hills, crossed rough terrain, got stuck in soft sand and had to be rescued by clever commands from Earth. She worked for 6 years, 6 Earth years, far longer than anyone expected, far longer than she was designed to last. She saw dust devils swirl across the plains. She watched the sun set over ancient volcanic rocks. She drilled into stone and tasted the minerals inside. And then, in 2009, she became trapped. Her wheels broke through a crust of soil and sank into soft sand beneath. A hidden trap, an invisible danger. For months, for nearly a year, Earth tried to help her, sending commands, trying different wheel combinations, different angles, different approaches. But the sand held her tight, and winter was coming. The Martian winter, when the sun hangs low in the sky and the solar panels cannot gather enough light, when the batteries drain and the heaters cannot keep the cold at bay. Spirit's last message came in March of 2010, and then silence. She is still there, in that sand trap, on the slopes of a place called Home Plate in the Columbia Hills, her wheels half buried, her solar panels covered in dust, her instruments quiet, facing north toward the weak winter sun, waiting. She has been waiting for 14 years now, and she will wait forever, patient, still, at peace. Opportunity was different. Opportunity was lucky. She landed in a place that was kinder, flatter, easier to traverse, and the wind loved her. Every few months, dust storms would pass over her location. Strong winds that could have buried her, ended her mission, but instead, the wind cleaned her solar panels, blew away the dust, gave her fresh power, fresh life, again and again, gift after gift from the Martian atmosphere, and so opportunity kept going and going. She drove farther than any robot has ever driven on another world, 28 miles, 45 kilometers, a marathon and then some. She explored craters, examined cliffs, found tiny spheres of hematite scattered across the surface like blueberries, proof that water once soaked this soil. She climbed into Victoria Crater, a massive bowl in the ground, descended down its slopes and examined the layered walls, then climbed back out and continued her journey. She was unstoppable. For 14 years, she kept working, kept rolling, kept exploring, until 2018. In the summer of that year, a dust storm began. Not a local storm, not a small disturbance, a global storm, one of the massive planet-wide events that can engulf all of Mars, that can block out the sun for weeks, months. The dust rose, thickened, darkened the sky. Opportunity sent a final message to Earth. My battery is low and it's getting dark. That was not the exact message. The real transmission was just data, numbers, telemetry, but when translated, when understood, that is what she was saying. My battery is low and it's getting dark. And then, silence. The storm raged for months. When it finally cleared, when the dust settled and the sun returned, Earth called to her, again and again, every day for 8 months, sending commands, listening for a response. But she never answered. Perhaps the dust never blew off her solar panels. Perhaps the cold damaged something vital. Perhaps she simply went to sleep. She is still there, in a place called Perseverance Valley, a channel carved into the rim of Endeavour Crater, a place she reached near the end of her journey. She sits there now, covered in red dust, a thick blanket that has settled over her body, her solar panels hidden, her cameras obscured, her wheels motionless. She faces west, toward the direction she was traveling, always traveling. The dust has softened her edges, made her blend into the landscape. In time, in decades or centuries, she will be indistinguishable from the rocks around her. But she is not sad. She fulfilled her purpose, explored for 14 years when she was meant to last 90 days, traveled 28 miles when she was meant to travel 1,000 feet. She exceeded every expectation, and now she rests in Perseverance Valley. The name seems fitting, chosen before she arrived, before she fell silent. Perseverance. She persevered until she could persevere no more, and then she slept, and she is at peace. But the story does not end. Another robot came, larger, more capable, more complex. His name is Curiosity. He arrived in 2012, landing in a place called Gale Crater, a massive impact basin with a mountain in the center, Mount Sharp, a 3-mile-high mound of layered rock, each layer representing a different era in Martian history, a timeline written in stone. Curiosity's mission was to climb that mountain, slowly, studying each layer, reading the history of Mars, and he is still climbing, still working, 12 years now, and still going. He moves slowly, so slowly. His top speed is less than 2 inches per second, slower than a human walk, slower than a crawl. He rolls across the gravel and the dust, 6 wheels turning gently, independently, suspended so they can navigate the rough terrain. The wheels are damaged now, torn and punctured by sharp rocks, but they still turn, still carry him forward, inch by inch, foot by foot, up the slopes of Mount Sharp. Sometimes he stops, parks in place for days, weeks, while his instruments analyze the soil, while his drill bores into rocks, while his camera surveys the landscape. He is the only moving thing for hundreds of miles, perhaps thousands of miles. The only activity, the only change. Everything else is still, silent, unchanging. But curiosity moves, slowly, patiently, alone. He has been alone for 12 years, and he will be alone for however many years remain to him. He does not mind. He was built for this, built to be a solitary explorer, a sentinel, a watcher. At night, when his systems power down to conserve energy, he sits motionless, waiting for dawn, waiting for the sun to rise and give him power. And in those quiet hours, he's like a statue, a monument on the slopes of an alien mountain, peaceful, still, at home in the silence. And there is another, Perseverance, the newest arrival, landed in 2021 in Jezero Crater, an ancient lake bed. She carries a small helicopter on her belly, a tiny flying machine named Ingenuity, the first aircraft to fly on another planet. Together they explore, Perseverance rolling, Ingenuity flying short hops ahead. They are not as alone as the others were. They have each other, but they are still far from home, far from noise, far from life, far from the world that built them. And they too will rest one day. Their batteries will fade, their systems will fail, and they will join the others, Sojourner, Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, all resting on Mars, all at peace. These robots are not sad, they are not tragic figures, they are explorers, pioneers, sentinels. They fulfilled their purpose, some exceeded it by years, by decades, and when their time came, when their power faded and their systems grew quiet, they simply stopped. No fear, no pain, no regret, just stillness. They sit now in the places where they stopped, covered in dust, becoming part of the landscape, part of Mars itself. They are monuments, markers of humanity's reach across the stars, proof that Earth sent its emissaries to touch another world. And they watch over the planet still, silent guardians, patient witnesses to the slow turning of days and seasons and years, at peace in the red dust, at peace in the silence, forever. Rest now with them, with the lonely robots, in their peaceful vigil, in their quiet sleep. They have earned their rest, and so have you. Let the dust settle gently over you. Let the silence enfold you. Sleep, sleep like Opportunity in Perseverance Valley. Sleep like Spirit on the slopes of Home Plate. Sleep like Sojourner among the ancient rocks. Deep sleep, peaceful sleep, forever sleep. Rest, breathe in, slowly, and out, even slower. We are standing on the surface of Mars again, on a flat plain somewhere near the equator. The ground beneath our feet is red, dusty, scattered with small stones, and above us, the sky, that strange pale butterscotch sky, so different from Earth's sky, so alien, so thin. Let us talk about the air here, the atmosphere, the weather, the gentle, quiet weather of Mars. The atmosphere of Mars is barely there at all. If you stood on the surface and reached up your hand, you would feel almost nothing, no pressure, no weight, just the faintest suggestion of air moving past your fingers. The atmospheric pressure on Mars is less than 1% of Earth's pressure, less than 1%. To put that in perspective, it is roughly equivalent to standing at an altitude of 100,000 feet on Earth, higher than any airplane flies, higher than weather balloons go. at the very edge of space. That is what the atmosphere of Mars feels like. Nearly nothing. The air is thin, tenuous, made mostly of carbon dioxide, 95% carbon dioxide, with traces of nitrogen and argon and the smallest amounts of oxygen and water vapor. You could not breathe it, even if it were warmer, even if the pressure were higher. You could not breathe it. There is not enough oxygen, less than 0.1%, but the thinness of the air creates something beautiful, something peaceful. It creates silence. Sound travels slowly here, weakly. On Earth, sound moves through the thick atmosphere easily. Voices carry, music fills rooms, thunder rumbles for miles. But here, on Mars, sound is muffled, dampened, absorbed by the thin air. If you spoke, your voice would sound strange, muted, as if you were speaking through a heavy blanket. The higher frequencies would be especially weak. Your voice would sound deeper, flatter, less distinct, and it would not travel far. A shout would carry perhaps 100 feet, maybe 200, and then nothing. The sound would simply dissipate, fade into the silence. This is a quiet world, a world where noise dies quickly, where the wind itself is nearly silent. But the wind is there. Oh yes, the wind is always there. You cannot feel it strongly, cannot be knocked over by it. The air is too thin for that. But it moves, constantly, gently. The winds on Mars can reach extraordinary speeds, 200 miles per hour during the great dust storms, 300 kilometers per hour. On Earth, such winds would be catastrophic, devastating. They would tear buildings apart, uproot trees, hurl debris through the air like missiles. But on Mars, even at those incredible speeds, the wind feels like nothing more than a gentle breeze, because there is so little air, so little mass. The wind pushes against you with barely any force at all, but it makes a sound, a low sound, a hollow sound, a whistle. Listen, can you hear it? The wind moving through the rocks, through the canyons, through the ancient riverbeds and the crater rims. It is not a howl, not a roar. It is a whisper, a long, drawn-out whisper that rises and falls, that changes pitch as the wind finds different paths through the landscape, different openings, different passages. Sometimes it is high, a thin, reedy note that wavers and trembles. Sometimes it is low, a deep hum that vibrates through the stone. It is the voice of Mars, the only voice, the only sound in a world that is otherwise silent, and it is strangely comforting, like white noise, like the sound of distant waves, like rain on a roof. It lulls you, calms you, makes you want to close your eyes and drift. The wind carries dust, always dust. The surface of Mars is covered in a fine powder, iron oxide, silicates, tiny particles no larger than grains of talcum powder, and when the wind blows, it lifts that dust into the air, sometimes just a little, a faint haze that softens the horizon, that makes distant features blur and fade, sometimes a lot. Dust storms on Mars are common. Local storms happen almost every day somewhere on the planet. Small swirls, dust devils, whirlwinds that dance across the plains for a few minutes or a few hours and then fade away. They are beautiful in their way, graceful. Like slow-motion tornadoes made of rust-colored mist, they move across the landscape quietly, gently, picking up dust and carrying it a few miles before releasing it again. The robots have photographed them. Watch them approach, watch them pass. They are not dangerous, not violent, just moving air, moving dust, part of the rhythm of Mars. But sometimes the storms grow. A local storm merges with another and another, fed by the temperature differences between day and night, between summer and winter, between the equator and the poles, and the storm spreads, grows larger, encompasses entire regions, entire hemispheres, and occasionally, perhaps once every few years, a storm grows so large it engulfs the entire planet, a global dust storm. When this happens, the sky darkens, the sun becomes dim, a faint disk barely visible through the thick haze of suspended particles. The temperature drops, the solar panels of the robots lose power. Everything becomes shrouded in a reddish twilight that lasts for weeks, months. But even these great storms are gentle, slow. The dust rises gradually, settles gradually. There is no violence, no destruction, just obscurity. The world wrapped in a soft veil of dust, waiting for the wind to shift, for the particles to settle, for the air to clear, and eventually, it always does, the dust falls, the sky brightens, the sun returns, and Mars emerges, coated in a fresh layer of red, everything slightly redder than before, slightly softer, the planet renewed. The sky changes throughout the day. At noon, when the sun is highest, the sky is that pale butterscotch color, that strange peachy hue caused by the dust in the atmosphere scattering the sunlight. But as the afternoon wears on, as the sun begins to sink toward the horizon, the color shifts, deepens, becomes more orange, more amber. The shadows grow longer, stretch across the landscape like dark fingers pointing east. And then, as the sun touches the horizon, something remarkable happens. Something that seems impossible if you have only ever known Earth. The sky around the sun turns blue, blue, a soft, pale, ethereal blue, not the bright blue of Earth's midday sky, but a gentler blue, a powder blue, the color of forget-me-nots, the color of robin's eggs. It glows around the setting sun like a halo, a small patch of blue in an otherwise orange and pink sky. This is the opposite of Earth. On Earth, the daytime sky is blue, and at sunset, the sky turns orange and red and gold. But on Mars, the daytime sky is orange, and at sunset, a patch of blue appears. The reason is the dust. Those tiny particles suspended in the atmosphere, they scatter light differently than the molecules of Earth's air. On Earth, the small molecules of nitrogen and oxygen scatter blue light more than red light, so the whole sky looks blue during the day, and at sunset, when sunlight has to travel through more atmosphere, most of the blue is scattered away and only the reds and oranges reach your eyes. But on Mars, the dust particles are larger. They scatter red and orange light more efficiently, so the whole sky looks orange during the day. But at sunset, when the sunlight passes through the most dust, something different happens. The dust scatters away the orange and red lights so effectively that what remains, what filters through, is blue. The shorter wavelengths, the blue light that managed to pass through the dust without being scattered, and it creates that halo, that glow, that ring of soft blue around the setting sun. It is peaceful to watch. The sun sinking slowly, growing dimmer, casting long shadows across the red soil, and that blue glow spreading around it, deepening, intensifying. For a few minutes, the blue dominates. The sky near the sun is more blue than orange, more blue than pink, a small piece of Earth's sky transplanted to Mars, a reminder of home. And then, the sun slips below the horizon, the blue fades, the sky darkens to purple, to gray, to black. Night falls, fast on Mars, faster than on Earth. Within half an hour of sunset, The sky is fully dark. The stars emerge, bright and unwavering in the thin atmosphere, and the temperature plummets. Night on Mars is cold, so cold, the thin atmosphere cannot hold heat. During the day, the sun warms the surface, the rocks, the soil, but as soon as the sun sets, that heat radiates back into space, quickly, relentlessly. Within an hour, the temperature can drop by 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. The ground freezes, the air chills, frost begins to form, not water frost. The air is too dry for that, but carbon dioxide frost, dry ice. It crystallizes out of the atmosphere, settles on rocks and dust and metal, a thin white coating that glitters faintly in the starlight. By midnight, the temperature can reach negative 150 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 100 degrees Celsius, colder than anywhere on Earth except the highest peaks of Antarctica, colder than any place humans have ever lived, and it stays cold all night until the sun rises again and begins the slow process of warming. At the poles, the cold is even more extreme. During the Martian winter, when the sun does not rise for months, the polar regions become the coldest places in the solar system outside the outer planets. Negative 190 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 125 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, carbon dioxide freezes directly out of the atmosphere, not just as frost, but as snow, as ice. The polar ice caps grow, thicken, layer upon layer of frozen CO2 building up over the course of the winter. The ice is white, brilliant white, a stark contrast to the red equatorial regions, and it is quiet there, so quiet. No wind, no movement, just the slow accumulation of ice, molecule by molecule, falling silently from the dark sky. And then, when spring comes, when the sun returns and begins to warm the poles, the ice sublimates, turns directly from solid to gas without melting. It evaporates, disappears, releases back into the atmosphere. The polar caps shrink, reveal the layers beneath, layers of water ice that remain year-round, permanent ice buried under the seasonal carbon dioxide, and the cycle begins again. Winter, summer, freeze, thaw, over and over, for billions of years. The weather of Mars is gentle, slow. There are no hurricanes here, no tornadoes in the violent sense, no lightning, no thunder, no rain, just wind and dust and cold and the patient turning of seasons. It is weather that lulls, that soothes, that creates not chaos, but rhythm, a rhythm you can sink into, a rhythm you can trust. Watch the sunset now. One more time, the sun touching the horizon, the sky shifting, the blue glow beginning to spread. Listen to the wind, that low whistle, that gentle hum. Feel the temperature dropping, the day giving way to night, and let yourself drift. Drift with the dust in the air. Drift with the wind across the plains. Drift with the fading light as it dims and disappears. Rest in the rhythm of Mars, in the slow breath of its atmosphere, in the gentle fall of its frost, in the quiet turning of its days. Rest. Let the blue sunset carry you into darkness, into peace, into sleep, deep, dreamless, eternal sleep. Breathe, just breathe. Night has fallen on Mars. The sun has set. The blue glow has faded. The sky has darkened from orange to purple to black. And now, above you, the stars appear. Thousands of them, millions of them, scattered across the velvet darkness like grains of salt spilled on black cloth. They do not twinkle here. The atmosphere is too thin for that. Each star is a steady point of light, unwavering, constant. You can see the Milky Way, that river of stars stretching across the sky, the combined light of billions of distant suns creating a pale band that glows softly against the dark. And there, low on the horizon, a bright blue star, brighter than the others, brighter than anything except the stars of the first magnitude. Earth, your home, 40 million miles away, a pale blue dot that rises and sets with the turning of Mars, visible for a few hours each night before it sinks below the horizon again. But there is something else in the sky tonight, something closer, something strange. Look up, directly overhead. Do you see it? A faint point of light, dimmer than the stars, moving, not quickly, but noticeably, drifting across the field of stars from west to east. It is not a star, not a planet, not a satellite made by humans. It is a moon, one of the two moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, fear and panic, the sons of Ares, the Greek god of war, Mars in Roman mythology, named by Asaph Hall in 1877 when he discovered them through a telescope at the Naval Observatory in Washington. He searched the sky near Mars for weeks, nearly gave up. His wife encouraged him to try one more night, and there they were, two tiny moons, invisible to the naked eye from Earth, so small, so dark, so close to the planet that they had remained hidden for all of human history until that moment. Fear and panic. But there is nothing fearful about them, nothing panic-inducing. They are peaceful, quiet, ancient rocks drifting silently through the void, captured long ago by Mars's gravity, pulled into orbit, locked in an eternal dance that has continued for billions of years. Phobos, the closer moon, the one overhead right now, is not round, it is not smooth, not spherical like Earth's moon or the moons of Jupiter. It is lumpy, potato-shaped, an irregular chunk of rock roughly 17 miles across at its widest point, 14 miles in another direction, 7 miles in the third. It looks more like an asteroid than a moon because that is probably what it is, or was, an asteroid that wandered too close to Mars millions or billions of years ago and was captured, held, made to circle the planet forever. Its surface is dark, gray, covered in craters from countless impacts over the ages. The largest crater is named Stickney after Asaph Hall's wife, the woman who encouraged him to keep searching. Stickney crater is so large that the impact that created it nearly shattered Phobos entirely, nearly broke it apart. Cracks radiate from the crater across the moon's surface, grooves, striations, evidence of stress, of trauma, but Phobos held together, barely, and it continues its orbit, continues its dance. Watch it move across the sky. It rises in the west, not the east like most moons and planets, but the west, because Phobos orbits Mars so quickly, so close to the planet, that it moves faster than Mars rotates. It circles the entire planet in just 7 hours and 39 minutes. 7 hours. That means it rises and sets twice each Martian day, rushing across the sky from west to east, completing its journey in just 4.5 hours from horizon to horizon. It moves fast enough that you can see it move, if you watch carefully. If you compare its position to the background stars, you can see it drifting, crawling across the sky, a rock in motion, a silent wanderer. From the surface of Mars, Phobos looks small, much smaller than Earth's moon appears from Earth, about 1/3 the size, a dim gray disk that barely lights the landscape. But it is there, always there, rising, setting, rising again, a constant companion in the Martian night. And there is another moon, Deimos, farther out, smaller, slower. Look for it now, scan the sky, search among the stars. There, do you see it? Even dimmer than Phobos, even smaller. A point of light that could almost be mistaken for a star, except it is moving, barely moving, drifting so slowly through the constellations that you might watch for an hour and barely notice the change. Deimos is tiny, only 9 miles across at its widest point, 15 kilometers, smaller than many cities on Earth. Like Phobos, it is lumpy, irregular, potato-shaped, probably another captured asteroid, another piece of the early solar system that wandered too close and was held. Its surface is even smoother than Phobos, covered in a thick layer of regolith, dust, fine powder that has accumulated over billions of years from micrometeorite impacts. The dust fills the craters, softens the features, gives Deimos an almost gentle appearance. Deimos orbits much farther from Mars than Phobos, 14,000 miles out, 23,000 kilometers, and it moves much more slowly. It takes 30 hours to complete one orbit, longer than a Martian day. So unlike Phobos, Deimos rises in the east, like Earth's moon, like the sun, the way we expect celestial objects to move. But it takes 2.5 days to cross the sky from horizon to horizon. 2.5 days. You could watch it for hours and barely see it move. It drifts among the stars like a lost ship, patient, unhurried, from the surface of Mars. Deimos appears even smaller than Phobos, just a bright point, a star that is slightly too steady, slightly too slow. It provides almost no light, almost no illumination. It is more of a presence than an illumination, a reminder that Mars is not alone, that it has companions, small companions, quiet companions, but companions nonetheless. Both moons are tidally locked to Mars. That means they always show the same face to the planet, just like Earth's moon always shows the same face to Earth. They rotate once for each orbit, perfectly synchronized, a resonance created by gravity over millions of years. From the far side of Phobos or Deimos, the side that faces away from Mars, you would never see the planet, never see that red globe hanging in the sky, just stars, endless stars. But from the near side, Mars fills the view, enormous, dominant, a great red sphere suspended in the black. If you stood on Phobos, on the side facing Mars, the planet would appear huge, 40 times larger than Earth's moon appears from Earth, taking up a vast portion of the sky, and you would see it turning, rotating beneath you, the storms, the polar caps, the great volcanoes and canyons, all visible, all slowly wheeling past as Phobos hurtles through its orbit. But no one stands on Phobos. No one ever has. It is empty, silent, just a rock in space, orbiting, always orbiting. Sometimes during the Martian day, Phobos passes in front of the sun, an eclipse, but not like the eclipses on Earth, not a perfect alignment, not a corona of light around a dark disk, because Phobos is too small, too irregular, too lumpy. When it crosses the sun, it does not cover it completely. Instead, it appears as a dark shape, a jagged silhouette moving across the bright solar disk, like a potato passing in front of a light bulb. The sunlight dims slightly, shadows sharpen, the temperature drops a degree or two, and then, within 30 seconds, it is over. Phobos moves on. The sun returns to full brightness. The shadows soften again. The rovers have photographed these eclipses, watched Phobos cross the sun dozens of times, hundreds of times, each time the same. A brief dimming, a brief shadow, and then normalcy. The eclipse is not dramatic, not awe-inspiring in the way Earth's eclipses are, but it is peaceful, gentle, a reminder of the dance happening overhead, the eternal orbital ballet. Deimos is too small and too far to create noticeable eclipses. When it passes in front of the sun, it appears as nothing more than a tiny dark dot, a speck, barely visible even if you knew where to look, a transit, not an eclipse. The light does not dim. The shadows do not change. It passes silently, invisibly, just another moment in its long, slow orbit. Both moons are doomed, Phobos especially. It orbits so close to Mars and so quickly that tidal forces are slowly pulling it downward, closer, closer, about 6 feet closer every 100 years, 2 meters per century. It does not sound like much, but over millions of years, it adds up. In 50 million years, perhaps less, Phobos will be so close to Mars that the tidal forces will overcome its structural strength, and it will break apart, shatter into thousands of pieces, tens of thousands, millions. Those pieces will spread out into a ring around Mars, a thin band of debris circling the planet, like Saturn's rings, but smaller, darker, made of rubble instead of ice, and slowly, over millions more years, those pieces will spiral inward, fall into the Martian atmosphere, burn up as meteors. Phobos will rain down on Mars as shooting stars, brief flashes of light in the night sky until nothing remains. But that is millions of years away, millions of years. For now, Phobos continues its orbit, continues its dance, unaware, unconcerned, just a rock circling a planet, as it has done for billions of years, as it will do for millions more. Deimos, farther out, orbits more slowly, and the tidal forces work differently. Instead of pulling it closer, they are slowly pushing it farther away, inch by inch, year by year. Eventually, in billions of years, Deimos will drift so far from Mars that it escapes, breaks free of the planet's gravity, and wanders off into space, an asteroid once more, no longer a moon, just a piece of rock drifting through the solar system, alone again. But that too is billions of years away. For now, it remains, orbits, keeps its patient watch. The orbital dance of Phobos and Deimos has continued without interruption for longer than humans have existed, longer than complex life has existed on Earth. These moons were orbiting Mars when the first fish swam in Earth's oceans, when the first plants colonized the land, when the dinosaurs walked, when humans evolved and built civilizations and looked up at the night sky and wondered. They have orbited through it all, silent, unchanging, constant. They do not care about the passage of time, the rise and fall of species, the birth and death of worlds. They simply orbit, and there is something deeply peaceful about that, something comforting to know that regardless of what happens, regardless of change or upheaval or catastrophe, these small lumpy moons will continue their dance, Phobos rising in the west, setting in the east, rising again, Deimos drifting slowly among the stars, patient, unhurried, fear and panic. But there is no fear here, no panic, just two ancient rocks, doing what they have always done, what they will continue to do, orbiting, forever orbiting, in the silence of space. Lie back now, look up at the Martian night sky, watch Phobos drift overhead, that dim gray disk moving among the stars. Scan the darkness for Deimos, that distant point of light, barely visible, barely moving. Let the stars wheel slowly above you. Let the moons complete their paths. You are watching something ancient, something eternal, something that has continued unchanged for longer than you can imagine. And it will continue long after you are gone. The dance goes on, the moons orbit, the stars turn, and Mars sleeps beneath them. Let yourself sleep too. Drift away with Deimos, slowly, peacefully, into the vast darkness, or rush away with Phobos, quickly, silently, across the sky. Either way, let go. Let the orbital dance carry you. Let the ancient rhythm lull you into rest, into peace, into the deep, silent, eternal sleep of the cosmos. Rest, breathe slowly in and out, Let us drift forward now, not across space, but across time. Years pass, decades, perhaps a century, and something changes on Mars. Something new appears on the ancient surface, a structure built by human hands, carried piece by piece across the void from Earth, assembled slowly, carefully, over months and years, a habitat, a home, a small bubble of life on a lifeless world. Let us go there now, quietly, gently, and see what humanity has built in the silence of Mars. The habitat sits in a shallow crater near the equator, not a large structure, not a sprawling city, just a modest cluster of domes and cylindrical modules, connected by transparent tunnels, covered in a layer of red dust that has settled over the months since construction. The domes are made of reinforced glass, thick, triple-layered, strong enough to hold the pressure of breathable air inside, while the near vacuum of Mars presses against them from outside. And inside those domes, green, the first green that Mars has seen in billions of years. Plants, growing in carefully tended soil made from Martian regolith mixed with nutrients and organic matter brought from Earth, hydrated with water extracted from the ice beneath the surface. Tomatoes, lettuce, wheat, potatoes, the essential crops, the beginning of agriculture on another world. They grow slowly here. The sunlight is weaker than on Earth. The days are slightly longer, but they grow. Green leaves, green stems, reaching upward toward the pale butterscotch sky visible through the transparent ceiling, and between the rows of plants, paths, walkways, places where humans can move, work, tend the garden. But right now, in this moment, it is quiet. The colonists are resting. There are not many of them, 12, 15, 20 at most. A small group, the first permanent residents of Mars. Scientists, engineers, agronomists, doctors, people who trained for years for this, who left everything behind, who said goodbye to Earth knowing they might never return. They live in the cylindrical modules attached to the domes, small private quarters, common areas, a laboratory, a medical bay, a workshop. Everything is efficient, compact, carefully designed to make the most of limited space. There is no waste here, no excess. Every cubic foot is precious, every resource conserved. Water is recycled endlessly, the same water used again and again, purified, cleaned, reused. Air is filtered and renewed by the plants in the biodomes. Carbon dioxide breathed out by the humans is absorbed by the leaves. Oxygen released by photosynthesis is breathed in again. A closed loop, a self-sustaining system, fragile, delicate, but functioning. Life maintaining itself on Mars. Inside one of the modules, a woman sits by a window, a small window, just 2 feet across, double-paned, reinforced. She is wrapped in a soft blanket, holding a cup of tea, synthetic tea made from dried leaves grown right here in the habitat. It is evening. The sun has set. The sky outside is black, scattered with stars. She looks out at the landscape. The red soil stretches away in all directions, dark now, almost black in the dim starlight. The rocks cast long shadows. The distant crater rim forms a jagged silhouette against the sky. Nothing moves, nothing changes. It is the same view she has seen every evening for the past 6 months, since the transport ship left her here and departed for the long journey back to Earth. And yet, she never tires of it. There is something deeply peaceful about the stillness, the emptiness, the silence. On Earth, even in the most remote places, there is always something, always sound, always movement. Wind through trees, insects buzzing, birds calling. the distant hum of aircraft or traffic. But here, nothing, just the red landscape, the black sky, the stars, and inside, the gentle hum of the life support systems, the soft whisper of air moving through vents, the occasional creak of the habitat settling, home sounds, safe sounds. She takes a sip of tea. It is warm, comforting. The flavor is mild, slightly sweet, not quite like the tea she remembers from Earth, but close enough. She is warm. The habitat is kept at a comfortable temperature, 20 degrees Celsius, 68 Fahrenheit. Outside, the temperature has dropped to -80, -100. She cannot feel it. The insulation is too good, the heater's too efficient, but she knows it is there, just beyond the glass, that killing cold, that airless void. It does not frighten her. She feels safe here, protected, cocooned. The habitat is her shell, her fortress against the harsh environment, and inside that shell, she can relax, can let her guard down, can simply be. Above her, in one of the biodomes, something extraordinary is happening. It is raining, not outside, not on the Martian surface. That will never happen. The atmosphere is too thin, the pressure too low, but inside the dome, in the carefully controlled environment, moisture is condensing, forming droplets, falling, a gentle mist at first, then proper raindrops, small but real, pattering down onto the leaves of the plants, onto the soil, onto the glass floor of the walkway. The sound is soft, delicate, a whisper of water falling, patter, patter, patter. The first rain on Mars in billions of years. The irrigation system is running, spraying a fine mist into the air above the plants, simulating rainfall, watering the crops in the most natural way possible. And the colonists, those who are awake, stop what they are doing and listen, just listen to the sound of rain, a sound they took for granted on Earth, a sound so common, so ordinary. Rain on a roof, rain on windows, rain on pavement. But here it is extraordinary, precious, a miracle of engineering and biology and human determination. Rain on Mars. They close their eyes and let the sound wash over them, let it transport them back to Earth, back to gardens and forests and open skies. And for a moment, they are home. But the moment passes. They open their eyes. They are still on Mars, still in the habitat, still millions of miles from home. And that is okay, because this is home now too. This small bubble of life, this fragile garden, this quiet refuge, home. The woman at the window finishes her tea. She stands, stretches, looks out one more time at the dark landscape, and then she looks up, searching the sky, looking for something specific. There are so many stars, so many points of light. The constellations are the same ones visible from Earth, but they look different somehow, cleaner, sharper, unfiltered by a thick atmosphere. She finds the ecliptic, the path where the planets travel, where Earth travels, and she searches along that path until she finds it. There, a bright star, bluer than the others, brighter than most, but not that bright, not compared to how the sun looks from Earth, not compared to how the moon shines. Just a star, Earth, her home world, the place where she was born, where she grew up, where she spent the first 40 years of her life. Now, reduced to a point of light, a pale blue dot, just as Carl Sagan described it decades ago. From here, from Mars, Earth looks small, insignificant, just another planet among many. All of human history, all of human civilization, all the wars and loves and triumphs and tragedies, all of it contained in that tiny blue speck. 7 billion people going about their lives, working, sleeping, arguing, laughing, crying, all of them there on that dot. And she is here, 40 million miles away, give or take. The distance changes as the two planets orbit the sun, sometimes closer, sometimes farther, but always separated. She does not feel sad looking at it. She does not feel homesick, not anymore. She did at first, those first weeks after arrival, when the transport ship was still visible, when she could still imagine going back. But now, she has accepted it. This is her life. This is her home, Mars. And there is something freeing about that, something peaceful. She is removed from all the chaos of Earth, all the noise, all the rush, all the endless stream of information and demands and expectations. Here, life is simple. Grow food, maintain the habitat, conduct research, sleep, wake, repeat. The days have rhythm, structure, purpose, and the silence, the beautiful silence, allows her to think, to reflect, to simply exist without distraction, without interruption. She is 40 million miles from the nearest traffic jam, the nearest argument, the nearest political crisis, and she finds that she does not miss it, not at all. She thinks about the people on Earth looking up at the night sky right now, somewhere, in some dark location far from city lights. They might see Mars, a reddish star, brighter than most, moving slowly through the constellation. Do they think about the colonists, the small group of humans living on that distant world? Do they imagine what it is like? Probably not. For most people on Earth, Mars is still just an abstract concept, a destination, a goal, not a place where people actually live. But she is here, living it, breathing the recycled air, eating the homegrown food, sleeping under the alien sky, and it is peaceful, so peaceful. In another module, someone is playing music, softly, gently, a guitar, acoustic. The notes drift through the corridors, echoing slightly in the confined space. It is a simple melody, nothing complicated, just a few chords repeated, a lullaby perhaps, or something improvised. The sound is warm, human, organic. It mixes with the hum of the life support systems, the whisper of air through vents, creating a soundscape that is uniquely Mars, uniquely this habitat, the sound of home. The colonists have learned to appreciate these small moments, these small sounds, music, laughter, conversation, the patter of rain in the biodome. They are reminders of humanity, of life, of all the things that make existence worthwhile. On Earth, these sounds would be drowned out, lost in the cacophony, the traffic, the televisions, the constant barrage of noise. But here, in the silence of Mars, they stand out, they matter. Each note, each word, each laugh, precious. The woman turns away from the window. She walks slowly down the corridor, past the other modules, past the laboratory where instruments blink silently in the dark, past the greenhouse entrance where she can see the plants sleeping in the dimmed light. She reaches her quarters, a small room, 8 feet by 10, just enough space for a bed, a desk, a locker for her belongings. It is not much, but it is hers. She climbs into bed, pulls the blanket up, lies still. The lights dim automatically, responding to her presence, sensing that she is settling for the night. And in the darkness, she listens to the hum of the habitat, to the whisper of air, to the faint strains of guitar music from somewhere distant. And beneath all of that, if she concentrates, she can almost hear it, the silence of Mars, the vast, empty, patient silence beyond the walls. It does not press in, does not threaten, does not frighten. Instead, it feels like a presence, a companion, something eternal and unchanging that has been here long before humans arrived and will remain long after they leave. The silence is not the enemy, it is the backdrop, the canvas, the foundation, and humanity has placed a small mark on that canvas, A tiny splash of color, a brief note of sound, the habitat, the colonists, the rain in the biodome. It will not last forever, perhaps not even for centuries, but for now, it is here. Life on Mars. Quiet, peaceful, persistent. Sleep now, with the colonists, in their small habitat, in their fragile bubble, safe inside while the cold presses against the glass, warm while the temperature outside drops to impossible depths, alive while the planet around them sleeps its ancient sleep. You are safe here, protected, sheltered, at peace. The silence of Mars surrounds you, holds you, keeps you, and inside that silence, you rest, you sleep, deep, dreamless, comfortable, the way sleep should be. The future is quiet, the future is peaceful, the future is a warm habitat on a cold planet, a cup of tea by a window, rain falling in a biodome, a guitar playing softly in the dark. The future is rest. Let yourself rest now. Let Mars hold you. Let the silence cradle you. Sleep. Sleep in the future silence. Sleep among the stars. Sleep and dream of red dust and blue sunsets and ancient stones. Sleep. Breathe one more time. In, slowly, deeply, and out, even slower, letting everything go. Our journey is ending now, not abruptly, not suddenly, but gently, the way all things should end, with peace, with acceptance, with the slow fade into stillness. We are leaving Mars now, leaving the red planet, the silent rovers, the lonely robots, the future habitats, the blue sunsets, all of it falling away behind us, rising up, lifting off, ascending into the black. Let us go together into the void, into the eternal silence, into the deep, endless, beautiful dark. Look down one last time at Mars, shrinking slowly beneath us, growing smaller, the red surface fading to a dull orange glow. You can still see the features, just barely, the polar ice caps gleaming white at the top and bottom, the dark scar of Valles Marineris cutting across the equator, the enormous bulge of Tharsis rising on one side, but the details are fading now, blurring, becoming indistinct. As we drift higher, farther, away, the planet becomes a sphere, a ball, a small red marble suspended in the darkness, and then, smaller still, a dot, a point of rusty light, and then the moons pass by, Phobos first, close to the planet, that lumpy potato-shaped rock still orbiting, still dancing its eternal dance. We drift past it, silent, observing. It does not notice us, does not acknowledge us, just continues its path, rising in the west, setting in the east, as it has done for billions of years. And then Deimos, farther out, smaller, slower, that distant companion, that patient wanderer, we pass it too, leaving it behind, still orbiting, still drifting among the stars. The moons do not say goodbye, they simply continue, as they always have, as they always will. Mars is behind us now, small, distant, just another point of light in the vastness, and ahead, the sun, that pale yellow star, our star, the heart of the solar system. It is brighter now, warmer. We are moving away from Mars, back toward the inner planets, but we are not stopping. We are not returning to Earth. We are drifting, just drifting past Venus, hidden in the glare of the sun, that shrouded world wrapped in thick clouds, past Mercury, tiny, scorched, the innermost planet, baked by the relentless heat. Past them all, we are leaving the inner solar system, crossing back out, beyond Mars, beyond the orbit of the red planet, into the space between worlds. The asteroid belt appears, not a dense field of rocks like you might imagine, not a dangerous obstacle course, but a sparse scattering, millions of asteroids, Yes, but spread across such a vast distance that you could travel through the belt and never see one. Just darkness, with the occasional glint of reflected sunlight, a tumbling rock catching the sun's rays for a moment before fading back into shadow. We drift through it all, untouched, unbothered. The asteroids do not care. They tumble on their own paths, their own orbits, some taking years to circle the sun, others taking decades. Ancient debris, leftover material from the formation of the solar system, rocks that never coalesced into a planet, never became part of something larger, just fragments, drifting, like us. And then, ahead, something massive, a giant among planets, Jupiter. Even from this distance, it is enormous. You can see the bands, the stripes of brown and white and orange swirling across its surface, the great red spot, that massive storm larger than Earth itself. But we are not stopping. We pass by, far to the side, keeping a respectful distance from the king of planets. Its moons drift past like a miniature solar system. Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, the Galilean moons, each one a world in its own right. Europa, especially, that ice-covered moon, with its hidden ocean beneath the frozen crust, a place where life might exist, might be swimming right now in the dark waters, unaware, undiscovered, but we do not stop to look. We simply continue, drifting outward into the deeper dark. Saturn passes next, majestic, beautiful, those rings stretching out in a thin plane, countless particles of ice and rock orbiting in perfect formation. The rings catch the sunlight, glow softly, like a cosmic halo, but we are moving too fast to admire them for long. Already Saturn is falling behind, shrinking, the rings becoming a thin line, then disappearing altogether. And the sun is growing dimmer. We are far from it now, farther than Mars, farther than Jupiter, farther than Saturn. Out here, the sun is no longer a brilliant disk. It is just a very bright star, brighter than all the others, but no longer overwhelming. The light is weak, gentle. It barely warms the rocks and ice that drift out here. This is the realm of the outer planets, cold, dark, distant. Uranus appears, a pale blue-green sphere tipped on its side, rotating strangely, differently from all the other planets. We drift past, and then Neptune, deeper blue, the last of the major planets, the outermost giant. Its winds are the fastest in the solar system, howling at supersonic speeds across the frigid cloud tops, but we cannot hear them. Sound does not travel in space. There is only silence. We pass Neptune, leave it behind, and now we are at the edge of the known solar system, the boundary between the realm of planets and the realm of nothing. Pluto is out here somewhere, far below the plane of the planets, that tiny dwarf planet with its heart-shaped glacier, its 5 moons. But we do not see it. We are not looking for it. We are looking ahead, into the dark. The sun is behind us now, just a bright star among many, growing dimmer, fainter, as we drift farther and farther and farther away. This is the space between stars, the vast, empty, silent gulf. There are no planets here, no moons, no asteroids, no comets, just darkness and dust, particles so small and so sparse that you could travel for years and never encounter one. The temperature is near absolute zero, negative 270 degrees Celsius, just a few degrees above the coldest temperature possible. No heat, no warmth, no energy, just cold, deep cold, eternal cold. But it does not hurt. Nothing hurts here, because there is nothing to feel pain, nothing to suffer, nothing to struggle, just existence, pure, simple, peaceful. The stars surround us now, all directions, above, below, left, right, forward, back. billions of them, trillions, each one a sun, each one with its own family of planets perhaps, its own moons, its own stories, but so far away. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is 4 light years from the sun. 4 years traveling at the speed of light, that is 25 trillion miles, 40 trillion kilometers, an incomprehensible distance, and we are drifting toward it, slowly, so slowly, at a speed that would take tens of thousands of years to reach it. But that is okay. We are in no hurry. Time has no meaning here, no relevance. There are no days, no nights, no seasons, no years, just eternity. Endless, unchanging, patient. Let yourself sink into it now, into the vastness, into the darkness, into the silence. There is nothing to hold on to here, nothing to anchor yourself to. Just let go. Let go of Mars. Let go of Earth. Let go of the sun and the planets and the moons. Let go of everything. You do not need it anymore. Here, in the void between stars, you are free. Free from gravity, free from time, free from worry, free from fear. There is nothing here that can harm you, nothing that can disturb you. Just peace, eternal peace. Drift, just drift, like a mote of dust, like a particle of cosmic ice, like a photon of light traveling forever through the dark. Drift without direction, without destination, without purpose, simply drift. There is no need to think, no need to plan, no need to do. Just be, exist in the silence, in the dark, in the void. This is the purest form of rest, the deepest form of peace. Nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing to feel, just existence, quiet, gentle, eternal existence. The stars are fading now, growing dimmer, losing their sharpness, blurring into soft points of light. Or perhaps it is your eyes that are closing, your consciousness that is fading. It is hard to tell. In this place, this non-place, the boundary between waking and sleeping is unclear. Perhaps you are already asleep. Perhaps you have been asleep for hours, for days. Perhaps this entire journey was a dream. Mars, the rovers, the blue sunsets, the lumpy moons, the future habitats, the drift into space, all of it, a dream, a long, slow, peaceful dream. And now, even the dream is fading, dissolving, evaporating. Like morning mist in sunlight, everything is becoming soft, indistinct, quiet. The stars are barely visible now, just faint suggestions of light in the darkness. And then, even those fade. Darkness, complete darkness. Not frightening, not oppressive, just dark. The kind of darkness that is restful, comfortable, like closing your eyes, like pulling a blanket over your head. Safe darkness, peaceful darkness. And in that darkness, you rest, you sleep, deep sleep, dreamless sleep. The kind of sleep where hours pass in what feels like seconds, where you wake refreshed, renewed, restored. But there is no waking here, not yet, not for a long time. Just sleep, sleep in the void, sleep between the stars, sleep in the eternal silence of space. Let go now, let go of everything, your body, your thoughts, your worries, your memories, your identity. Let it all drift away, like dust in the solar wind, like ice sublimating in vacuum. You do not need any of it. Here you are just consciousness, pure awareness, existing without form, without substance. And even that awareness is fading now, dimming, quieting, settling into stillness, like a candle flame growing smaller, smaller, until it is just a tiny point of light. And then nothing, not nothing in a bad way, not nothing in an empty way, but nothing in the sense of complete, whole, perfect. The void is not empty, it is full, full of potential, full of peace, full of rest. You are part of it now, part of the darkness, part of the silence, indistinguishable from the space around you. You are the void. The void is you. There is no separation, no distinction, no boundary, just oneness, unity, peace. Rest now, rest forever. In the deep, in the dark, in the silent spaces between stars. No one will disturb you here. No one will wake you. No one will ask anything of you. You are free to sleep, free to rest, free to simply be or not be. It does not matter. Nothing matters. And in that not mattering, there is perfect peace, perfect rest, perfect silence. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Breathe slowly in and out. We are not drifting into the void anymore. Not yet. There is one more story to tell, one more memory to visit. We are going back now, not across space, but across time, across billions of years, across eons, across the vast gulf of history that separates the Mars we know from the Mars that once was. Let yourself drift backward through time, slowly, gently, into the deep past, into the ancient past, into a time when Mars was different. 4 billion years ago. The number is almost meaningless, too large to comprehend, too vast to hold in your mind, but try. 4 billion years, 1,000 times longer than humans, have existed, 1,000,000 times longer than recorded history. 4 billion years ago, Earth was young, barely cooled from its formation. The first simple life was just beginning to emerge in the warm oceans. Single-celled organisms, bacteria, the ancestors of everything that would come after. And Mars was young too, newly formed, newly cooled, its surface still settling, still finding its final shape. But it was not the Mars we know, not the red planet, not the dry planet, not the cold, silent, dead planet. It was alive in its own way. It was blue. Imagine it. Look down from space, from orbit, at Mars as it was 4 billion years ago. The first thing you notice is the color. Not red, not rust, not that dusty orange hue. Blue, deep blue, ocean blue. The color of Earth when seen from space. The northern hemisphere, that vast lowland that we know today as the northern plains, is covered in water, covered completely, an ocean, vast, deep, stretching from pole to pole, from the equator almost to the North Polar region. The ocean is dark in some places, light in others, shallow near the ancient shores, deeper toward the center, and it moves, the water moves, flows, swirls in great currents driven by the planet's rotation, by the heat of the sun, by the pull of the moons. Phobos and Deimos are there too, orbiting overhead, but closer than they are now, younger, perhaps brighter, reflecting the sunlight off their gray surfaces, and they reflect in the ocean below, twin moons shimmering on the water's surface, rippling with the waves, descend now, down toward the surface, down toward that ancient ocean, slowly. The atmosphere is thicker here, much thicker than the Mars we know, perhaps not as thick as Earth's atmosphere, but substantial, enough to breathe if you were a different kind of life, enough to support liquid water, enough to carry sound. And there is sound here. For the first time in our journey, there is real sound on Mars, the sound of wind, not the hollow whisper of thin air moving through rocks, but genuine wind, the kind of wind you can feel, the kind of wind that rustles and pushes and breathes. It moves across the water, creates ripples, small waves, larger swells, and the sound is unmistakable. Water, the sound of water lapping, splashing, moving. Come closer still, down to the surface of the ocean, hovering just above the waves. The water is dark, not crystal clear like tropical seas on Earth, but darker, murkier, filled with sediment, with minerals, with particles of rock and dust washed down from the highlands. The water is cold. Mars has always been farther from the sun than Earth. The sunlight here has always been weaker, dimmer, but it is liquid, it flows, it moves, and that is everything. The waves rise and fall, gentle swells rolling across the surface, not violent, not storm-tossed, just moving, the way water moves, the way it has always moved, rhythmic, hypnotic, endless. Rise and fall, the sound is soothing, comforting, the universal sound of water meeting air, splash, whoosh, over and over, forever. Look toward the horizon now. In the distance, you can see land, the southern highlands, the ancient terrain that rises above the ocean, rocky, volcanic, dotted with craters from meteorite impacts. And there, where the land meets the water, there is a shore, a beach. The first beach on Mars, perhaps the only beach Mars will ever have. The water meets the land, rolls up onto the rocky shore, washes over pebbles and sand, and then retreats, pulls back, leaving the stones wet, glistening, and then comes again, the eternal rhythm of waves on shore, a sound that is older than memory, older than life, a sound that speaks of time, of cycles, of the patient repetition of nature, whoosh and hiss, whoosh and hiss. The water advances, retreats, advances, retreats. It has been doing this for millions of years already. It will do it for millions more, until the ocean dies, until the water freezes or evaporates or seeps away into the ground. But that is still far in the future. In this moment, in this ancient time, the waves continue, eternal, unstoppable, peaceful. Walk along the shore now, in your mind. Feel the wet stones beneath your feet, smooth, rounded by the endless action of the water. Some are volcanic rock, dark basalt, heavy, dense. Others are lighter, sedimentary stone, formed from layers of dust and minerals compressed over time. All of them wet, covered in a thin film of water, reflecting the pale orange sky above. The sky is not blue here, not like Earth's sky, even with the thicker atmosphere, even with the water. The sky of Mars is still orange, still butterscotch, still tinted by the iron-rich dust that hangs in the air. But it is brighter than the Mars we know, more luminous. The thicker atmosphere scatters more light, softens the shadows, makes everything glow. Listen, the waves behind you, constant, rhythmic, and above, the sound of wind, gentle wind, moving across the water, across the land. It makes a different sound here, with the thicker atmosphere, with the moisture in the air. It is softer, fuller, more like the wind on Earth. It whispers through the rocks, carries the scent of salt, of minerals, of ancient stone, and if you listen very carefully, you might hear something else. Rain, somewhere in the distance, over the ocean perhaps, or in the highlands. Rain is falling, actual rain, water condensing in the atmosphere, forming droplets, falling back to the surface. The first rain on Mars, the only rain Mars will ever know. It patters down onto the water, creates tiny splashes, ripples spreading outward in concentric circles. It falls on the land, darkens the stone, pools and depressions, begins the slow process of erosion, of shaping, of carving valleys and channels into the ancient rock. This is how Valles Marineris began to form, how the riverbeds were carved, how the deltas were built at the edges of the ocean, water falling, flowing, shaping the world. The ocean is not empty. Deep beneath the surface, things are happening, chemical reactions, the building blocks of life forming in the warm water near volcanic vents, organic molecules, amino acids, the precursors to, perhaps, Life. We do not know if life ever formed on Mars. We have not found it. Not yet. Not any fossils. Not any definitive proof. But the conditions were right. The ingredients were present. The time was sufficient. Perhaps somewhere in this ancient ocean, in some warm pool or deep vent or shallow tidal zone, life began. Simple life, single-celled life, bacteria clinging to rocks, floating in the water, feeding on minerals, on sunlight, on chemical energy. Perhaps. We will never know for certain. The evidence, if it ever existed, has been scoured away by billions of years of erosion, buried beneath layers of dust, frozen into the soil. But in this moment, in this ancient time, the possibility exists. Life on Mars, swimming, floating, drifting in the dark water. But time moves on, always on. The warm period does not last forever, cannot last forever. Mars is smaller than Earth. Its core cools faster. The volcanic activity that kept the planet warm, that released gases into the atmosphere, begins to slow, to fade. The magnetic field, generated by the molten core, weakens, flickers, dies. And without the magnetic field to protect it, the atmosphere is exposed, vulnerable. The solar wind, that constant stream of particles from the sun, begins to strip away the air. Molecule by molecule, year by year, century by century, the atmosphere thins, the pressure drops, and the water, the precious water, begins to change. At first, it is slow, barely noticeable. The ocean remains, the waves continue, the shores are still wet, but gradually, over millions of years, the water level drops, shorelines retreat, beaches rise, areas that were once covered become dry land. The water is evaporating, escaping into the thinning atmosphere, and from there into space, lost forever. Some water seeps down into the porous rock, into the soil, where it freezes, becomes ice, locked beneath the surface, hidden, but most of it simply vanishes. The ocean shrinks, becomes smaller, shallower, lakes form, separated from each other, isolated, and then even those begin to dry. Watch it happen in your mind. Watch the ocean fade, like a time lapse, like watching paint dry, like watching a puddle evaporate after rain. Slow, so slow, but inevitable. The waves become smaller, less frequent. The sound of water lapping against shore grows quieter, fainter. The air grows colder, thinner. The rain stops falling. The clouds disappear. The sky clears, becomes the pale butterscotch we know today. And the water, the beautiful, life-giving water, disappears until all that remains is dust, red dust, iron oxide, the rust that forms when water and iron meet. The ocean has left its mark, its signature, its memory. The entire northern hemisphere, the ocean floor, is coated in minerals that can only form in water. Clays, sulfates, carbonates, proof that the water was there, that it existed, that Mars was once wet. And now, we return to the present, to the Mars we know, the dry Mars, the cold Mars, the silent Mars, stand on that same shore now, the shore where waves once broke, where water once flowed. It is dry, completely dry. The stones are still there, worn smooth by ancient water, but covered now in dust, red dust, undisturbed for billions of years. There is no sound of waves, no splash, no whoosh, no hiss, just silence. The wind still blows, that hollow whistle through the thin air, but it carries no moisture, no scent of salt, no promise of rain. The ocean is gone. Only the memory remains, only the evidence, the minerals, the shorelines, the dry riverbeds, ghosts, the ghost of water, the ghost of waves, the ghost of possibility. But the water is not entirely gone. Some remains, hidden, frozen, beneath the surface, in the polar caps, locked in the soil, waiting. Perhaps, one day, far in the future, humans will find it, extract it, melt it, and water will flow on Mars again. Not oceans, not yet, perhaps never again, but something, streams, pools, habitats filled with water brought back to liquid form, and the sound of water will return, gentle, quiet, but there, a reminder, an echo of what Mars once was, of what it might become again. Rest now with the ghost of the ocean. Let the memory of those ancient waves wash over you. Imagine the sound, that gentle splashing, that rhythmic whoosh and hiss. Let it lull you, calm you, soothe you. Even though the water is gone, the memory remains, and memory can be as comforting as reality, perhaps more so, because memory is timeless. Memory does not fade, does not evaporate, does not freeze. The ancient ocean of Mars lives on, in the rocks, in the minerals, in the shape of the land, and in your mind, where you can return to it anytime. Close your eyes and hear the waves, feel the wet stones, smell the salt air. The ocean is still there, waiting for you, eternal, peaceful, unchanging. Let the waves carry you now, gently, slowly, out into that ancient sea, into the dark water, into the depths. Float there, suspended, neither rising nor sinking, just drifting. The water is cool, comfortable. It holds you, supports you. You are safe here, in this memory, in this ghost of a place. Nothing can harm you, nothing can disturb you, just the gentle rocking of the waves, the slow rhythmic motion, back and forth, like a cradle, like being rocked to sleep as a child, safe, warm, loved. Sleep now, sleep in the ancient ocean of Mars, sleep beneath the pale orange sky, beneath the twin moons, beneath the distant sun. Let the water hold you. Let the waves rock you. Let the sound lull you into deep, peaceful rest. The ocean may be gone, but its peace remains, its tranquility, its timeless rhythm, and you can rest in that rhythm forever. Sleep in the ghost of the ancient ocean, in the memory of water, in the eternal silence that was once sound. Rest, breathe slowly, in and out. We have walked on the surface of Mars. We have watched the sunsets. We have floated in ancient oceans. We have drifted through space. But there is one place we have not yet explored, one place hidden from view, sheltered, protected, secret. We are going underground now, into the depths, into the darkness, into the hidden places where no sunlight has reached for millions of years, into the lava tubes. Let yourself descend, gently, slowly, down into the Martian underworld, into the quiet spaces beneath the surface, into the eternal dark. The entrance is barely visible, a crack in the ground, a pit, a dark opening in the red soil. From above, from orbit, it appears as nothing more than a black dot, a shadow, easy to miss among the thousands of craters and features on the surface. But it is not a crater, it is a skylight, a place where the roof of an underground tunnel has collapsed, where the ceiling gave way and sunlight, for the first time in eons, touched the floor below. The opening is perhaps 50 feet across, maybe 100, irregular, jagged, the edges sharp where the rock broke and fell, and beyond that opening, darkness, pure, complete, impenetrable darkness. This is the entrance to a lava tube, a tunnel, a cave, a hollow space carved by rivers of molten rock billions of years ago. Let us enter, together, into the dark. The descent is steep at first. Chunks of collapsed ceiling litter the slope. Boulders, rubble, loose stones that would slide and tumble if disturbed, but we move carefully, slowly, feeling our way down through the shadows. The sunlight from above grows dimmer, more distant. The red glow of the Martian surface fades to gray, to charcoal, to black, and then the darkness is complete, total darkness. The kind of darkness that exists only underground, only in places where light has never reached, where photons have never penetrated. Your eyes try to adjust, try to find something, anything, to see, but there is nothing, just black, and yet you are not afraid. There is something comforting about this darkness, something womb-like, safe, protected. You are inside the planet now, inside Mars itself, surrounded by stone, by solid rock, by walls that have stood unchanged for billions of years. Nothing can reach you here. No radiation from space, no dust storms from the surface, no cold, no heat, no wind, just stillness, silence, shelter. The floor levels out beneath your feet. You have reached the bottom of the entrance shaft, and before you, stretching away into the darkness, is the tunnel, the lava tube. You cannot see it, but you can feel it. The space around you has changed, opened up. The air, the thin Martian air, feels different here, calmer, stiller, and the temperature is warmer than the surface, not warm by Earth standards, still well below freezing, but warmer than outside. The stone holds heat, just a little, just enough to make a difference. Underground, protected by kilometers of rock, the temperature remains relatively constant, -50 degrees Celsius perhaps, -60, cold, yes, but not the killing cold of the surface at night, not the -150 degrees that can shatter metal and freeze carbon dioxide from the air. Here, you could survive, hypothetically, with proper equipment, with insulation, with heat. This is a place where humans could live, could shelter, could build a natural habitat, ready-made, waiting. The tunnel is enormous. Not all lava tubes are large. On Earth, most are modest, a few feet across, perhaps 10 or 20 feet at most. But on Mars, where the gravity is only 1/3 of Earth's, where volcanic eruptions were more violent, more sustained, the lava tubes are massive. This one is easily 200 feet wide, 60 meters, perhaps more. The ceiling rises high overhead. How high? You cannot tell, cannot see, but the echoes suggest vast space, cathedral-like space. The walls are smooth, mostly carved by the flowing lava that created this tube billions of years ago, when Tharsis was active, when Olympus Mons was erupting, when lava poured across the surface in rivers of molten rock. The lava flowed downhill, following the slope, and as it flowed, the top layer cooled, hardened, formed a crust, a roof, but beneath that crust, the lava continued to flow, hot, liquid, draining away, and when the eruption ended, when the lava stopped flowing, the tube remained empty, hollow, a tunnel through solid rock, smooth-walled, perfectly formed, natural architecture, built by fire, shaped by time. Walk forward now, into the tunnel, into the darkness. Your footsteps make no sound. The thin atmosphere cannot carry sound well. Even here, underground, protected from the wind, the air is too thin, but there is something, a faint scuff, a whisper of boot against stone, so quiet you almost cannot hear it. And then, an echo, faint, delayed, returning from somewhere far ahead, far behind, the walls reflecting the sound back and forth, slowly, gradually fading. The echo tells you the tunnel is long, very long. Lava tubes on Mars can stretch for miles, tens of miles, following ancient lava flows across the landscape, connecting volcanic vents, creating underground highways. Some have been partially mapped by radar, by satellite scanning from orbit. sending signals that penetrate the ground and reveal the hollow spaces below, but most remain unexplored, unknown, hidden in the Martian darkness. This is one of those unexplored places. You are the first, the only, walking where nothing has. Walked for billions of years, alone but not lonely. The darkness is company enough. Continue deeper. The tunnel curves slightly, follows the ancient slope, the path the lava took. The floor is relatively smooth, covered in a thin layer of dust, fine particles that have settled over millions of years, filtered down through cracks in the ceiling, through the ventilation shafts that connect to the surface. Your feet leave prints in the dust, the first prints ever made here, the only prints. They will remain forever. There is no wind to erase them, no water to wash them away, no life to disturb them, just permanence, your mark on the universe, preserved for eternity. And then you hear something. Stop, listen, there, a sound, faint, so faint, but definitely there, a drip, the sound of water, a single drop falling, hitting stone, echoing in the darkness, plink, then silence, then another drip, plink, slow, patient, one drop every few seconds, every minute perhaps. But there, water, liquid water, here, underground, on Mars. It should not be possible. The atmosphere is too thin, the temperature too cold. Water should not exist as a liquid anywhere on Mars. But down here, in these tubes, the conditions are different. Protected from the vacuum of space by kilometers of rock, warmed slightly by the residual heat of the planet's interior. The ice can melt, just barely, just enough, somewhere above you. In a crack in the ceiling, there is ice, permafrost, frozen water trapped in the porous rock. And when the temperature rises even slightly, when the tunnel warms by just a degree or two, a tiny bit of that ice melts. One molecule, one drop, gathering slowly, building up until gravity pulls it free, and it falls through the darkness, through the thin air, down to the stone floor below. Plink, the first liquid water to exist here in how long? Millions of years, tens of millions, perhaps longer. The last time water flowed freely on the surface of Mars was billions of years ago, when the ancient oceans existed, when rain fell from the sky. But here, in this hidden place, water still drips, quietly, patiently, eternally. A secret, a treasure, a miracle. Follow the sound, move slowly through the darkness, listening, tracking the echo. The drips are coming from ahead and slightly above. You reach the spot. Stop. Look up. Of course, you cannot see anything. The darkness is absolute, but you know it is there, somewhere in the ceiling. The source. Stand beneath it. Wait. Plink. The drop falls, somewhere nearby. You feel it more than hear it. A disturbance in the air, a tiny vibration in the stone, and then silence again, waiting for the next drop. This is the heartbeat of Mars. Slow, so slow, but steady, constant. The planet is not entirely dead, not entirely frozen, not entirely dry. Deep in these hidden spaces, life persists, not biological life, but the processes that make life possible. Water, movement, change. The building blocks, the foundation. Kneel down now. Feel the floor with your hands. In your mind, the stone is cold, rough, volcanic rock, basalt, dense and dark, and there, in a shallow depression, a puddle, tiny, no larger than a coin, a tablespoon of water, perhaps less, but it is there, liquid, reflecting, nothing, because there is no light to reflect, but you know it is water. You can feel it, the texture, the wetness, the unmistakable quality of liquid. This puddle has been forming for years, centuries, millennia, one drip at a time, building up slowly until it fills the depression, and then perhaps it evaporates or freezes or seeps away into the rock, and the process begins again. An endless cycle: drip, pool, evaporate, drip, pool, evaporate. The slowest cycle imaginable, but a cycle nonetheless. Life, of a sort, activity, change. Mars is not dead, not completely, it only sleeps. These lava tubes are the future of human habitation on Mars. Scientists know this, planners know this, engineers know this. The surface is too harsh, too exposed. The radiation from space, cosmic rays, solar particles, would be deadly to unprotected humans, even inside habitats, even behind walls. The dust storms would bury solar panels, coat windows, grind down equipment. The temperature swings from relative warmth during the day to killing cold at night would stress materials, crack seals, cause failures. But down here, underground, in these tubes, all of those problems disappear. The rock shields against radiation, thick rock, kilometers of it, better than any shielding humans could build. The temperature is stable, constant, no day-night fluctuations, no seasonal extremes. There are no dust storms, no wind, no weather at all, just peace, stillness, safety. A colony built here could thrive, could grow, could expand through the tube network, creating underground cities, farms lit by artificial light, communities protected by the planet itself. This is where humanity will live when they come, when they settle, not on the surface, not exposed, not vulnerable, but here, below, in the hidden places, in the lava tubes, safe, warm, sheltered, home. But for now, the tubes are empty. No colonies, no cities, no lights, just darkness and silence and the slow drip of water. Plink, plink, plink. The sound echoes down the tunnel, bounces off the walls, travels for miles through the underground network, and somewhere, far away, in another tube perhaps, the echo reaches a dead end and bounces back, returning hours later, days later, a ghostly whisper of the original sound. The tubes are connected, all of them, a vast network beneath the surface, hundreds of miles, thousands of kilometers, a hidden world, an underworld, a realm of stone and shadow, waiting, patient, empty, but not for long. Someday, humans will come, will explore, will map these tunnels, will make them home, but for now, they belong to the darkness, to the silence, to the slow drip of water and the echo of emptiness. Rest here now, in the lava tube, in the darkness, in the hidden heart of Mars. You are safe here, safer than you have ever been, surrounded by stone, protected by the planet. Nothing can harm you, nothing can reach you, nothing can disturb your rest. The darkness wraps around you like a blanket, soft, warm, comforting, and the sound, that gentle drip, that patient rhythm, lulls you. Plink, 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 steady, eternal, peaceful. Let it carry you down, deeper, into sleep, into rest, into the profound stillness of the underground. You are inside Mars now, part of it, connected to it, held by it, safe, forever safe, in the darkness, in the silence, in the hidden lava tubes where time stands still and nothing ever changes. Rest, sleep, deep underground, deep in the dark, deep in the eternal peace of stone. Sleep and dream of water dripping, of echoes fading, of darkness that comforts instead of frightens. Sleep in the hidden heart of Mars, forever. Breathe in and out. We have been underground, in the darkness, in the hidden tubes beneath the surface, but now we rise again slowly, gently, back up through the tunnel, back toward the entrance, back toward the opening where light, faint starlight filters down from above. We emerge, step out onto the surface once more, and it is night, deep night. The sun has set hours ago. The sky is black, completely black, and above us is a sight that takes the breath away. The stars, all of them, every single one. Look up now, just look up. On Earth, even in the darkest places, even in the most remote deserts or mountaintops, you can see perhaps 3,000 stars with the naked eye. 3,000, maybe 4,000 on a perfect night. But here, on Mars, with its thin atmosphere, with no light pollution, with nothing between you and the cosmos, you can see more, so many more. 5,000 stars, 6,000, perhaps 7,000 or more, depending on where you stand and how dark adapted your eyes become. The sky is full, crowded, dense, packed with points of light. Everywhere you look, stars, big stars, small stars, bright stars, dim stars, stars in every direction, in every color. White stars, blue stars, yellow stars, red stars, some so bright they cast faint shadows on the ground, others so dim they are barely visible, hovering at the edge of perception, and they do not twinkle. On Earth, stars twinkle because of the atmosphere, the thick air, the turbulence, the constant motion of gases at different temperatures causing the light to shimmer and dance. But here, on Mars, the atmosphere is too thin for that. The stars are steady, constant, unwavering points of light, like diamonds, like holes poked in black velvet, like eternal flames burning in the void. Perfect, still, beautiful. Lie down now, on the red soil, on the dust, on the ancient surface of Mars. Lie on your back and look straight up into the infinite. Let the stars fill your vision. Let them surround you. Let them overwhelm you. This is what the universe looks like. This is what has been above us, always above us, hidden by daylight and atmosphere and city lights. But here, on Mars, there is no hiding. The universe reveals itself, completely, honestly, without filter or obstruction, and it is vast, so vast. Each of those stars is a sun, a distant sun, some smaller than our sun, some larger, some hundreds of times larger, and around many of those stars, planets orbit, perhaps, probably, statistically likely, billions of planets, trillions of planets in this galaxy alone, and you are looking at them right now, looking at the light that left those distant suns years ago, decades ago, centuries ago. You are seeing the past, the ancient past, frozen in light. Find the constellations. They are the same ones you would see from Earth, almost exactly the same. Mars is close enough to Earth that the patterns have not changed. The stars are in the same positions, the same shapes. There, Orion, the hunter. 3 stars in a line forming his belt, 4 stars forming the corners of his body, the bright red star Betelgeuse marking his shoulder, the bright blue star Rigel marking his foot, and there, the Big Dipper, part of Ursa Major, the Great Bear, 7 bright stars forming a ladle shape, a saucepan, familiar, comforting. Follow the pointer stars at the end of the Dipper. They lead to Polaris, the North Star, except it is not quite north here, not exactly. Mars has a different axial tilt than Earth, 25 degrees instead of 23, and its axis points in a slightly different direction. So Polaris is not the pole star on Mars. It is close, but not exact. The true north on Mars points to empty space, to a dark area between stars. There is no bright star marking the Martian North Pole, just darkness. But that is okay. The constellations are still there, still recognizable, still guiding, still beautiful. Look toward the south now, toward the southern horizon, and there, stretching across the sky like a river, like a cloud, like a bridge between worlds, the Milky Way, our galaxy, seen edge on from within, the combined light of billions of stars too far and too faint to see individually, blending together into a soft, glowing band. On Earth, even in dark places, the Milky Way is subtle, faint. You have to look carefully to see it, to distinguish it from the darkness. But here, on Mars, it is obvious, impossible to miss, bright, luminous, glowing softly like phosphorescence, like bioluminescence, like magic. The band stretches from horizon to horizon, dividing the sky in two, arching overhead like a celestial highway. In some places it is bright and dense, thick with stars, the core of the galaxy, the center, where stars are packed so tightly they blur together. In other places it is dimmer, more sparse, the outer arms, the spiral arms where our sun resides, where Earth orbits, where we come from. And there are dark patches too, dark rifts cutting through the brightness, not empty space, but dust, thick clouds of interstellar dust blocking the light of stars behind them. The dark horse, the coal sack, the great rift, clouds of gas and dust where new stars are forming, where planets are coalescing, where worlds are being born right now, this very moment. You are looking at creation, at Genesis, at the ongoing process of the universe building itself. Scan the sky slowly now, looking for something specific, not a star, not a constellation, but a planet. Earth, your home, the place you came from, the blue marble, the pale blue dot. It is here, somewhere, visible, if you know where to look. Start with the ecliptic, the path that the sun follows across the sky, the plane where the planets orbit. Follow that path, search along it. Look for something brighter than the stars around it, something that does not belong to any constellation. There, do you see it? A bright point of light, bluish, steady, not twinkling, brighter than most stars, brighter than all but a handful. That is Earth. From here, from Mars, Earth appears as a morning star or an evening star, depending on the time and the season, just like Venus appears from Earth, that bright beacon in the twilight, that shepherd star, that wandering light. But this is Earth, your world, seen from another world. It is strange to see Earth as a star, strange to see something so vast, so full of life and history and meaning, reduced to a point of light, a dot, a speck, a pixel in the cosmic display. From here, you cannot see continents, cannot see oceans, cannot see clouds or ice caps or cities, just light, reflected sunlight, photons that bounced off Earth's atmosphere and traveled 40 million miles through space to reach your eyes. And next to Earth, if you look very carefully, you might see another point, dimmer, much dimmer, the moon, Earth's moon, Luna, that familiar companion, that tide bringer, that inspiration for poets and dreamers. From Mars, it appears as a tiny star, barely separable from Earth itself, sometimes visible, sometimes lost in Earth's glare, a double planet, Earth and moon, together, dancing, as they have danced for billions of years, home, both of them, 40 million miles away, and yet, visible, present, a reminder that you are not alone in the universe, that there is another place, another world, another home, waiting. Look elsewhere now, find the other planets, the other wanderers. There, Jupiter, brighter than any star except Earth, a pale yellow light, steady, strong. From Mars, Jupiter appears about half as bright as it does from Earth, because Mars is farther from the Sun, farther from Jupiter. The distance makes a difference, but it is still unmistakable, still magnificent. The king of planets, visible, present, dominating that section of sky. And there, farther along the ecliptic, Saturn, dimmer than Jupiter, yellowish white, another wanderer, another giant. You cannot see the rings with the naked eye, not from here, not from Earth either. They are too small, too far, too delicate, but you know they are there, circling that distant world, billions of particles of ice and rock in perfect formation, and the other planets too, Venus, Mercury, Uranus, Neptune, all of them out there, somewhere, orbiting, following their paths around the sun, a family, a system, connected by gravity and history and the shared origin in that primordial disk of gas and dust 4.5 billion years ago. The sky is so clear here, so perfect, so unobstructed, no clouds. Mars has almost no clouds. Sometimes thin wisps of carbon dioxide ice form at high altitude, but they are rare, insubstantial, barely visible. Most of the time, the sky is clear, transparent, like looking through glass, like looking through nothing at all, and the atmosphere is so thin that you can see things that would be invisible from Earth, faint stars, dim galaxies, the zodiacal light, that faint glow caused by sunlight reflecting off dust in the plane of the solar system, even nebulae, the brightest ones, the Orion Nebula, the Lagoon Nebula, visible as faint smudges, clouds of light, stellar nurseries where stars are being born. You can see them with just your eyes, no telescope needed, no binoculars, just look, and there they are, the universe, revealing its secrets, willingly, generously. A meteor streaks across the sky, sudden, bright, a line of light cutting through the darkness, lasting only a second, maybe two, and then gone. A particle of dust, no larger than a grain of sand, entering the Martian atmosphere at incredible speed, burning up, vaporizing, creating that brief flash of light. Meteors are common on Mars. The thin atmosphere allows more to reach the surface, more to survive the descent, but they are quieter here. The thin air cannot carry sound well. On Earth, a bright meteor might create a sonic boom, a hiss, a crackle, but here, silence, just the visual, the light, and then nothing. And sometimes, if you are lucky, very lucky, you might see something else. A satellite, not a natural satellite, but an artificial one, a spacecraft, orbiting Mars, sent from Earth to study the planet, to map its surface, to search for signs of water, of life, of history. There are several in orbit right now, NASA's orbiters, ESA's orbiters, other nations' spacecraft. They appear as moving stars, bright points of light gliding across the sky, silent, steady, following their programmed paths, humanity's eyes, humanity's tools, circling overhead, watching, recording, sending data back to Earth at the speed of light. A reminder, a presence, a connection. You are not alone on Mars, not entirely. The robots are here, on the surface and in orbit, working, observing, persisting, silent companions in the night. Lie still now. Let the stars wash over you. Let them fill you. Let them surround you completely. Feel how small you are, how tiny, how insignificant in the face of this vastness, and feel how perfect that is, how freeing, how peaceful. You are a speck of consciousness, a brief flicker of awareness, lying on the surface of a planet that is itself a speck, orbiting a star that is itself one of billions, and yet you are here, you exist, you can see, you can think, you can wonder, and that is everything. That is the miracle, not the size, not the scale, but the awareness, the experience, the ability to look up and comprehend, to recognize, to appreciate. The stars have been there for billions of years, We'll be there for billions more, long after Mars is gone, long after Earth is gone, long after the sun itself has died and become a cold cinder drifting through space. The stars will remain, burning, shining, creating new elements, new planets, new possibilities. The universe continues, always continues, and you are part of it, part of that continuation, part of that story, a brief chapter, a single sentence, a single word, but part of it nonetheless. Rest now, under the stars, on the red soil, in the thin air. Let the Milky Way be your blanket. Let the constellations be your companions. Let Earth be your nightlight, a distant beacon reminding you of home. You are safe here, under the watchful gaze of billions of suns, in the embrace of the cosmos. Sleep now. Sleep under the brightest stars you have ever seen, under the clearest sky, under the infinite. Let the universe hold you. Let it cradle you. Let it carry you into deep, peaceful rest. Sleep on Mars, under the stars, forever. Breathe slowly in and out. We have traveled far together, across the surface of Mars, into its depths, under its stars, through its ancient past. But now, let us pause. Let us stop moving, stop exploring, stop doing. Let us simply be, like the rocks, like the dust, like Mars itself. Let us talk about silence, about stillness, about the profound peace of doing nothing, about why, perhaps, that is exactly what you need. Think about Earth for a moment, not with longing, not with nostalgia, but with observation, with clarity. Earth is loud, so loud. Even in the quietest moments, there is noise, always noise. In the cities, the constant hum, traffic, engines, horns, sirens, construction, voices, music, alarms, notifications, a never-ending assault of sound, layer upon layer, frequency upon frequency. Your brain tries to filter it out, to ignore it, to push it into the background, but it takes energy, constant energy. Your nervous system never fully relaxes, never fully rests, always monitoring, always alert, always processing the noise. Even in the countryside, even in nature, there is sound, birds calling, insects buzzing, wind through leaves, distant machinery, aircraft overhead, beautiful sounds, natural sounds, but sounds. Nonetheless, your ears are never truly silent, your mind is never truly quiet, and then there is the other noise, the invisible noise, the electromagnetic noise, the digital noise, the informational noise, phones buzzing, emails arriving, messages pinging, social media scrolling, news updates, advertisements, algorithms vying for your attention. Every moment, something demanding your focus, your response, your engagement. You are expected to be available, reachable, responsive, always on, always connected, always doing. The world moves fast, faster every year, and you are expected to keep up, to produce, to achieve, to optimize, to improve. Rest is seen as laziness, silence is seen as emptiness, stillness is seen as stagnation. You must always be moving, always working, always striving towards something, and it is exhausting, deeply, profoundly exhausting. But here, on Mars, there is no noise, no traffic, no engines, no voices, no notifications, just silence. The kind of silence that is so complete, so absolute, that it feels like a physical presence, not an absence of sound, but a thing unto itself, a quality, a state, a blessing. And in that silence, something happens. Your nervous system slowly begins to relax. The constant alertness, the vigilance, the processing, all of it begins to fade. Your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, your breathing deepens, the noise in your mind The endless chatter, the worries and plans and regrets and anticipations begins to quiet, not all at once, not immediately, but gradually, gently, like a pond settling after a stone is thrown. The ripples fade, the surface becomes smooth, calm, still, and you realize you have been carrying so much noise, so much tension, so much effort, and here, on Mars, you can finally put it down, let it go, release it into the silence. Look at the rocks around you, those ancient stones, sitting where they have sat for millions of years, billions of years. They do not move, they do not strive, they do not produce or achieve or optimize. They simply exist, and there is a profound wisdom in that, a profound peace. The rocks are not lazy, they are not failing, they are not wasting time. They are being, simply being, exactly as they are, exactly where they are, and that is enough, more than enough. It is perfect. The universe does not demand anything of those rocks, does not judge them, does not measure their worth by their productivity or their activity. They exist, and their existence is valuable, complete, sufficient. You are like those rocks, more complex, yes, more conscious, more capable of thought and movement and change, but at your core, you are the same, made of the same atoms, the same elements, the same stardust, and like those rocks, your existence is valuable, your being is sufficient. You do not need to constantly do, constantly achieve, constantly prove your worth. You can simply be, and in that being, in that stillness, there is healing, there is rest, there is peace, there is a kind of wholeness that cannot be found in activity, in noise, in doing. Modern life has forgotten this, has dismissed it, has labeled it as unproductive, as wasteful. But the ancient philosophers knew, the mystics knew, the contemplatives knew. Stillness is not emptiness. Silence is not absence. They are presence, pure presence, undiluted by distraction, by noise, by the constant demand for more. On Mars, there is no pressure to do anything, no expectations, no deadlines, no obligations. The planet does not care if you move or stay still, if you work or rest, if you achieve or simply exist. It offers you its silence, its space, its permission to stop, and that permission is precious, rare, necessary. How often on earth do you have permission to do nothing, to truly do nothing? Almost never. There is always something, always a task, always a responsibility, always a reason to keep moving. But here, now, in this moment, you have permission to stop, to rest, to sleep, to do absolutely nothing, not because you have earned it, not because you deserve it, but because you are human, and humans need rest, need silence, need stillness. It is not optional, it is essential. Your body needs it, your mind needs it, your soul needs it, and Mars, in its infinite patience, offers it to you freely, unconditionally, without judgment. Think about what silence means. True silence, not just the absence of noise, but the presence of peace. In silence, you can hear yourself, your true self, not the self that is shaped by expectations and demands and roles, but the self that simply is. In silence, thoughts arise, but they do not clamor, do not compete. They float by like clouds, observed, acknowledged, released. In silence, emotions surface, old ones, buried ones, but they find space to breathe, to be felt, to be integrated, to dissolve. In silence, healing happens, not forced, not manufactured, but natural, organic, the way a cut heals when you stop picking at it. the way sleep restores what waking depletes. Silence is medicine, ancient medicine, the oldest medicine before pills and procedures and therapies. Just quiet, space, time, and it works. It has always worked, but we have forgotten. We have buried it under noise, under busyness, under the belief that more is always better, that faster is always preferable, that doing is always superior to being. But here, on Mars, you remember what it feels like to just be, without apology, without guilt, without the nagging sense that you should be doing something else. Just being, and it is enough. It has always been enough. The rocks on Mars teach us something profound. They teach us about acceptance, about letting things be as they are. The rocks do not resist the wind. They do not fight the cold. They do not struggle against time. They simply weather. They change slowly, gradually, at their own pace. A grain of dust blown away here, a layer of frost forming there, a tiny crack expanding over millennia. Change happens, but not through force, not through effort, through patience, through surrender, through allowing. And in that allowing, there is a deep wisdom, a deep peace. You cannot control everything. You cannot force healing. You cannot demand rest. You can only allow it, create space for it, stop resisting it. And when you stop resisting, when you stop fighting, or when you stop trying so hard, rest comes naturally, inevitably, like water flowing downhill, like leaves falling in autumn. It is the natural order, the way things are meant to be. Perhaps that is why the silence of Mars is so healing. It reminds us of what we have lost, what we have sacrificed in the name of progress, of productivity, of constant connection. We have lost the ability to be still, to be quiet, to be at peace with nothing happening. We have become addicted to stimulation, to activity, to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and it is killing us, slowly, quietly, in ways we do not even recognize. Anxiety, depression, burnout, exhaustion, disconnection. These are not personal failures. These are symptoms of a world that has forgotten how to rest, how to be silent, how to stop. But Mars remembers, has always remembered, and it offers that memory to you, that gift, that possibility, the possibility of simply stopping, resting, being, without needing a reason, without needing permission from anyone but yourself. You are here now, in this quiet place, in this silent moment, and you can choose. You can choose to receive the gift, to accept the silence, to let yourself stop. It is okay to do nothing. Let that sink in, really sink in. It is okay. It is more than okay. It is necessary. It is vital. It is an act of self-preservation, of self-love, of wisdom. The world will tell you otherwise, will tell you that you are wasting time, that you should be productive, that rest is earned only after achievement. But the world is wrong. Rest is not earned. It is a birthright, a necessity, like breathing, like water, like food. You do not need to justify it. You do not need to explain it. You do not need to feel guilty about it. You are a human being, not a human doing. Being is enough, has always been enough, will always be enough. And in that being, in that stillness, in that silence, you find yourself again. The self that was there before the noise, before the expectations, before the endless demands. The self that is whole, complete, sufficient, just as you are, just as the rocks are, just as Mars is, existing, being, resting, in the eternal, in the infinite, in the silence. Let yourself be a rock now, a stone on the surface of Mars, ancient, patient, still. You do not need to move. You do not need to think. You do not need to do. You simply are, and that is perfect. The wind might blow over you, the temperature might change, the stars might wheel overhead, but you remain solid, grounded, at peace. Nothing is required of you, nothing is demanded, nothing is expected. You are free, completely free to simply exist, to simply be, to simply rest. And in that rest, healing happens, restoration happens, renewal happens, not because you are trying, not because you are working at it, but because you have stopped, you have allowed, you have surrendered to the natural process. And the natural process is rest, is sleep, is peace. This is the philosophy of silence, the wisdom of stillness, the teaching of Mars. Do nothing, be nothing, expect nothing, and in that nothing, find everything, find peace, find rest, find yourself whole, complete, sufficient, just as you are, just as you have always been, perfect, in the silence, in the stillness, in the eternal now. Rest now, like the rocks rest, like Mars rests, like the universe rests, in the spaces between stars, in the silence between sounds, in the stillness between breaths. You are allowed, you are permitted, you are free to do nothing, to be nothing, to simply exist. And that existence is beautiful, is valuable, is enough, more than enough, perfect. Sleep now in the silence, in the philosophy of peace. Sleep and let the wisdom of Mars hold you. Sleep and let the rocks teach you. Sleep and remember, you are enough, just as you are, resting, still, silent, forever enough.